welcome back to the party, everybody. This is Morty, and I am your host, Lutch, aka TheIndianJesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Everybody hit that like and subscribe. You know, I would do it for you. And let's party. Welcome. Shout out to Section 230 in the building. We also got Struggling. Hopefully the stream will not be struggling. Welcome to Legalize cocaine and heroin. If booze is allowed, that stuff should be too. And yes, that is what we will be talking about tonight. We are going to be covering a verbal combat style, well, actually not verbal combat, but a speakeasy debate on should drugs be legalized. But the key here is shout out to Taryak. We know him from a couple of different panels other than SpeakeaZy as well. And who he's debating is JS Urban Adventures. And that is going to be my debate partner. November 4th, 8 p.m. Eastern, we are going to be debating whether or not prostitution should be legal. So very similar type of mindset. And I think a lot of similar types of arguments are going to be used. So let's check it out and see what he's got and see how much I really do got to prepare. As always, guys, if you cannot hear the video, please do let me know.
Let's fucking go. Welcome, everybody, to Swords of Reason right here on the Speakeasy Show. I'm obviously your host, and this is where logic meets passion every Tuesday night, anytime after 7:30 p.m. Eastern. If you're new here, the format's simple but intense, okay? Each debater gets 10 minutes for opening statements, followed by 5-minute uninterrupted rebuttals.
So that's going to be the toughest part for me, is making an opening. I don't usually have an opening. I'm just like, yo, let's just talk about it.
Then we open the floor for a full hour of raw, unfiltered debate, okay, before wrapping it up with a 5-minute closing statement from each side. After that, we'll spend 30 minutes answering your questions from the chat. Super chats get top priority. And once the formal debate is done, we open the doors to the community for our chaos and chill, all right, where anyone can hop up and to challenge or question the debaters. This is optional for the debaters, obviously. All right, today's debate prompt is, should all currently illegal drugs be legalized and regulated?
And as Struggling said, all of them. We also got Caucasian Sasquatch in the building. Welcome to the party. Shout out to Craig. Very good to see you guys. Welcome. If you could do me a huge favor and hit that like button on your way in, I would greatly appreciate it. Let's do it.
All right, let's meet today's debaters. All right, we got on the affirmative side, we have Taryak, an aspiring professional memester, debater, and does shows here on YouTube about philosophy and social issues. And for the negative, we got JS Urban Adventures, an aspiring dino pyramid professional that does shows on YouTube showcasing his
Dino Pier. Do I need to learn about that before I debate this guy?
His hobbies, interests, political, and philosophical views. Debaters, you know the rules. Let's keep it sharp, smart, and entertaining. The clock is ticking. We got 10 minutes for each of your opening statements. We're going to start with Taryak. So go ahead whenever you're ready. I will start up the timer.
Oh, really quick, before they start, guys, I don't know what's going on tonight after the stream and all that stuff, but I think, as I'm going to be part of these panels and stuff more often, I have it set so that I'm not doing like these 6-hour-long streams. You could do the show and then go right into a different stream, and it'll be the debates and panels, and so it's essentially rating myself. I don't know how long I'm going to be up tonight because I got to get up for work tomorrow, but we're going to try that stuff and see if it works all good. Keeps everything a little bit more organized. You know what I mean? Shout out to the Steel Man. Welcome to the party. Banned you? They both banned you? I mean, hey, is that you or is that them? I don't know. Taryak is an absurdist, and so am I. So this should be a good preparation for my own debate with JS. Let's do it.
Yeah. So again, thank you for putting on the debate, and thanks for Easy, and thanks for showing up, JS. This is going to be hopefully a beautiful debate. My name is Taryak. As Easy was saying, I'm an aspiring professional memester. Also go by Loki the Leprechaun. But yeah, today we're talking about the drugs, like a very kind of like contentious topics, particularly in the conservative community. But I want to remind everybody in chat, today's debate is not about addiction. It's not about safety. It's about your choice as an individual.
Right. So if we look, I forgot they changed that. You can't just scroll down. So the should currently illegal should current illegal drugs be legalized and regulated. That is the actual prompt. And so you guys may have remembered about my holding hands debate, why it's very important to pay attention to the prompt. So here he is setting up that you can't just say, well, drugs bad, drugs bad. I'm going to do the exact same thing in my opening, saying this is not about whether we like the toots. This is about whether it should or should not be illegal.
About addiction, it's not about safety. It's about your choice as an individual. Okay, that's fundamentally what it comes down to. Because what I anticipate JS is going to throw me is like, oh, fentanyl. What about fentanyl on our borders? Did you know, chat, that fentanyl is given in every single hospital? It's used as a replacement to morphine. You know what I mean? And like this is a key thing to understand when you're talking about like drugs on the streets. It's like if all the drugs on the street, the current drugs on the streets were regulated and was guaranteed that whenever you were buying a drug, you were getting exactly what you paid for. All these overdoses and deaths on that, it's like that would reduce that in and of itself. But even as an individual, why am I not allowed to get a painkiller? Why can't I show up to the pharmacy and get pain? I can get like the likes of ibuprofen and all this kind of stuff. But when it comes to the serious stuff, why am I not able to do it?
Good question. But I should have made a poll. I want to see where you guys stand. Should these drugs be legalized or not?
That's the key thing here. There's other things in terms of the benefits that some of these illicit drugs, as we call them, can benefit. There was a famous mathematician called Paul Erdos, right? He contributed like I think 1,500 papers, I mean, to the mathematics community, and he was taking amphetamine after his mother died. He basically started taking amphetamine, and he noticed that this basically vastly boosted his production, and the amount of papers he was able to get, the amount of like work that he was actually able to contribute to mathematics.
All right, so I usually don't do this. I gotta change my name back to this thing. I usually don't do this, but I gave you guys an I'm not sure option because if you are not really sure and you want to see where the debate goes, there you go.
Now, he was sick before this, but like one of his friends was worried about him, says, oh, bro, like I think you're addicted and all that stuff. So he offered him $500, stay off amphetamines for a month, which he done. No problem. He was able to do that. But here was the statement to his friend. Before, when I looked at the blank piece of paper, my mind was filled with ideas. You've set mathematics back a month. So this dude, like a famous mathematician, is even saying, because you were like, you had this like paranoia that I was addicted, you basically set mathematics back a month. So the same reasons, like, why can't we take these drugs if they genuinely benefit us? And the interesting thing about amphetamines is any kid that has ADHD is going to be on amphetamines. So in terms of this danger aspect or in terms of this addiction aspect, these are not part of the debate. JS needs to defend why we should keep these drugs legal, despite the fact that there's benefits. And even
so, Steelman, what do you think is the difference between legalized and regulated versus decriminalized? What would be? I mean, I know what the difference of the words mean, but how do you think that would play out differently?
With psychedelics, when we look at like PTSD or like veterans, all this stuff, there's been tremendous research into actually using psychedelics like psilocybin from mushrooms, for example, to use that to essentially get the mind back on track. Because when you're looking at something like PTSD, the brain can only handle certain pieces of information. So if you've just seen your best friend get blown up right in front of you, that's going to break your mind. But with these psychedelics, we're able to reset the mind and put it back on a better track, kind of thing.
Hey, shout out to Arrow. Welcome to the party. Very good to see you.
So again, in terms of like the actual benefits, these are the benefits you won't hear about this. But it'll still be, we have to make sure that we ban these for either for the safety of the individual, which I'd kind of point out that every single supermarket has bleach in it, and if you drink bleach, you'll die. So we seem to have bleach legal, but when it comes to these like drugs that could potentially actually be a benefit to the common person, we all of a sudden seem to have an issue with it. To me, it doesn't make any sense. And again, like I said, I just want to stress again this whole aspect of like addiction is a different issue. Because like JS is probably going to point out like all these slums and it's all people like strung out in drugs. If it wasn't drugs, they'd be sniffing glue. If it wasn't glue, they'd be sniffing deodorant.
As an addict, as a former addict, I can tell you that when you got the itch, you're going to find something. It may not be exactly what you want, but you're going to find something.
Things like aerosols and stuff like that as well. They will, like, from the aspect of like looking at the problem, you need to solve addiction, not just ban all the drugs. It's like a lazy try to quick fix it in terms of that. And like I said, in terms of the back and forth, hopefully it's a good back and forth. But fundamentally, like I said, when you break down the question, my main question to JS would be, why, as a responsible drug user, am I not allowed to decide what goes in and out of my body?
Yeah, and again, in my debate about prostitution, even though I am not personally in favor of people doing this, why should I not legally be allowed to do it? Shout out to King Nirvana. Welcome to the party. And oh my goodness, getting us started on the swell goal with the $5. No question, no comment, just pure love of the puppy. Don't forget, every single donation comes with a treat for Morty. And if we hit that goal, he gets a special treat. No peanut butter tonight. I don't want to, mess up his heart or whatever, but a special treat. And of course, you got to get me doing those push-ups. I'm too puny for that. If you, I forgot what I was going to say, but check that goal and let's hit it. We also got equality and deference because vagina over on Rumble. Welcome to the party. Very good to see you. So liked and shared. God damn. Thank you so very much again. You guys know that stuff helps out so much. It's free and it's easy. It doesn't even matter if you think anybody's going to click on the link. Just by you telling the platform that you want more people to see it, they'll show it to more people. Thank you so very, very much. Equality said legalize them all and also abolish government handouts. Well, damn. 2 birds, 1 stone. I like it. Welcome. Let's dive back in.
User, am I not allowed to decide what goes in and out of my body? There is no reason. And that, to me, is the fundamental question behind this debate. And I concede the rest of my time.
All right. Thank you, Taryak. And we'll hand it over here to JS. And whenever you start, I'll start up the timer.
All right. I'm ready. All right, guys, what's up? My name's JS. As Easy said, I do streams, I do politics, philosophy, theology, all sorts of good stuff. This should be a fun one tonight. It's something that is kind of close to my heart. I know a little bit about this, so I guess you could say I'm an expert. So let's get into it.
20 seconds burned. So this is, I'm paying attention to all the little details because that says to me already, and I don't know him from Adam. I'm just taking, this is the only thing I've ever seen from him ever. Well, that's not true. I did watch a different, he was on the actual Verbal Kombat where it was, it's like a 20-minute thing with Rob Noor. But that and this, that's all I've ever seen. And so I'm just going based off what I see. And okay, well, yeah, okay, I'm ready. This is going to be a good one tonight. So, yeah, just it speaks to a little bit of uncomfortability. And again, I'm speculating. I have no idea. He could have just been distracted by something else. I'm just calling it like I see it.
Tonight's debate, my position will be to stand against the legalization and regulation of every currently illegal drug, including illicit substances such as PCP, GHB, DMT, fentanyl, carfentanil, isotonitazine or ISO, crocodile, and rohypnol.
And crocodilly. Just kidding. Don't do that. Don't do the dilly.
Though I am a proponent of even stricter prohibition and harsher criminal penalties for substance use than we.
See, now again, that's not something you want. I hope he doesn't watch this and take all my my things. Already there. You're giving away more than you need to. You're saying, oh, I'm for harsher punishments. Already, that means, okay, I need to make everybody think that you're an authoritarian, and I win. You've already given me that.
Of even stricter prohibition and harsher criminal penalties for substance use than we presently have in America. I will not be arguing that today. I do not have to argue.
And that's exactly why we gotta temper it down. We temper it down. We hit the goal. We'll get a special bonus, special treat, but we'll do peanut butter next time.
For criminalizing every drug, I simply have to demonstrate that at least one should remain illegal. My definition of drug is any medicine or substance which physiologically affects the user when ingested, often with addictive and harmful properties. My arguments will primarily relate to pragmatic policy making and policy logistics, since this is a policy debate more so than a philosophical or moral debate. But I will also lay out an ethical argument which grounds the practical arguments in doing what is right as a society. That said, I'll begin with my ethical or moral position. I believe it is objectively unethical or immoral as a civilization to enable the least among us to engage in self-harm or harm to others, and even more unethical for a government to profit off of those being harmed. By the least among us, I mean the spiritually, physically, and mentally weakest people in our society, those who are damaged or broken to the point of their lives becoming unmanageable.
So far, he's saying this is harmful, therefore it should be illegal. That's what we've gotten so far.
These people are highly susceptible to the appeal of escapism that comes with many of the most dangerous drugs. They start lightly using to deal with stress, depression, anxiety, or a litany of other reasons. And before long, they're physically and mentally dependent on a substance. These people knowingly or unknowingly begin slowly killing themselves, chasing the ultimate escape. You may think they should just will themselves out of it.
I'm gonna speed while they're like the openings and then the before they like actually are fighting with each other. I'm just gonna speed up a little bit.
They're just losers who don't want to stop. But this is not the case. These people have no free will.
Nobody does.
They're slaves to their next fix, and nothing or nobody else matters. It is inhumane to enable this person to easier access, procure, and ingest the poison that will eventually destroy them, even if it comes with an increased GDP. These issues aren't only harmful to the addicts either, but we should also not enable them to engage in any activity.
Why doesn't the super chat have any likes? There's one person, and there's a bunch of people here, and nobody liked the super chat. Why are we doing that?
That will inevitably cause problems to everyone around them. This brings me to my second argument against drug legalization, a pragmatic appeal to the devastating societal harm caused by drugs, a harm that would dramatically amplify with legalization. After decriminalizing hard drugs, Oregon saw overdoses double and deaths from synthetic opioids jump 533%. All this when they haven't even heard of ISO, which is 10 times more potent than fentanyl, let alone carfentanil, which is 100 times as potent as fentanyl. After recriminalization and closing down the open border led to less access to smuggled drugs, overdose rates were down 22% from 2023 to 2024. Reducing access and increasing punishments for dangerous drugs reduces overdose deaths. As I mentioned a moment ago, the harm from drug users is not only harm to themselves, by no means. The harm caused by drugs affects family, friends, neighbors, everyone who comes in contact with the user. Legalizing drugs would lead to an increase in crimes of consumption, such as theft, burglary, grand theft auto, breaking and entering, DUIs, basically any crime committed by an addict seeking to fund their habit or while intoxicated. Whether it's sold by a Hondo on the block or a lady doctor in a lab coat.
So there you go. Like that, you're saying all of that's going to go down because it's different than what it was, but it's also going to be somebody in a lab coat or in a Honda on the block. Why would that change anything? The only thing is that the people who can afford to not do the crimes because they can go and buy it in the store or buy it from the doctor or whatever would do less crime. The people who can't afford that anyway are still going to do the same amount of crime. So you're going to get less crime.
Basically any crime committed by an addict seeking to fund their habit or while intoxicated. Whether it's sold by a Hondo on the block or a lady doctor in a lab coat, a junkie will rob his own mother to get his next fix, and this behavior should not be encouraged and made more convenient. The largest societal detriment,
well, it's not robbing. If it's whatever.
It would be harm to children. More access and availability to younger children means more accidental deaths from kids finding mom's cleaning meth in the cabinet, kids experimenting at a party and driving afterwards, and young adults becoming lifelong addicts. Legalizing drugs would also lead to more prenatal exposure, meaning more children being born addicted to what should be an illegal substance, but instead was made available to a consenting adult mother-to-be. Young people on drugs have lower inhibitions and are more likely to engage in dangerous activities. In other words, this is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. Sorry, I don't have a frying pan.
Bruh.
It's supposed to sizzle when I...
Bruh. Okay, so the number one thing I've learned in the debate / panel space, don't do physical gags. They never come off the way that you want them to. Remember, we had RTP with the signs, and now we've got JS Urban with the egg. And it was like, oh, I got this. I'm going to crack an egg on screen. Everybody's going to be like, oh! Not quite. One more time.
This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. Yeah. Sorry, I don't have a frying pan. It's supposed to sizzle when I put it in, but I don't have a frying pan. And eggs are expensive, so this is your brain. Your brain turns to shit when you're on drugs. There you go. All right. My last argument is
that is what I'm going to use to throw him off. So wait, you're not going to chug an egg for me?
Also pragmatic, relating to the logistics of drug legalization. Legalization entails a federal or state regulatory structure. New policy and law would need to be written for every previously illicit drug. Policing would change radically. Manufacturing and distribution infrastructure would need to be built and maintained under constant close scrutiny from the government. These changes would be insanely time-consuming and expensive. Legalization and regulation leads to setting up safe injection sites, clean needle and clean drug exchanges, more shelters and more addiction services, and addict-friendly housing. Building these facilities, building these facilities leads to calls for rezoning and serious city replanning because you don't want a meth injection site next to a school or a church, and citizens don't want these use sites near their neighborhoods. These shelters...
Damn, I thought I cheaped on this shit a lot, man. Taryak going at it.
Injection sites and services are often built near each other, leading to an influx in drug-seeking people to move to the area. This leads to a destruction of surrounding property values, and again, an increase in crime of consumption. Safe streets become cesspools, and local businesses suffer if they don't just close down. To conclude my opening, I want to comment on the prompt of the debate before reiterating my main arguments against drugs being completely legalized. The word regulated in the topic is irrelevant, and it's only useful to my opponent as a tool to misdirect the conversation. All drug policy, whether criminalization, legalization, or decriminalization, come with regulation. The question is whether we legalize all drugs while regulating legal use, or criminalize some drugs, legalize others, and decriminalize others while still regulating their legal use. Our focus should not be on freedom to use drugs, but instead freedom to never have to deal with the harms of drug use. Legalization leads to marketing and advertising to build an increased customer base. Increases in customers leads to increase in potency and more destabilization in society to drive profit. Drugs demoralize and dumb down the masses, making them easier to mentally manipulate and deceive. Legalization leads to increased exposure to drugs, and the number one common factor in drug addiction is exposure to said illicit drugs. Prohibition is not bad. We prohibit selling raw milk and hunting bald eagles. We prohibit the speed you can drive on roads. So why would we not prohibit certain deadly substances from being ingested? The societal harm from legalized drugs would be catastrophic. The realistic implementation of these policies would be nearly impossible logistically, and it is objectively unethical to allow such damaging behavior to go unpunished. Those are my three main points. I always like to include a Bible verse and a quote in all of my debate openings. So if
Oh, that I have to do. Oh shit! Hold on, let me take it because I'm taking notes in my Discord here. Just things to remember. Start with a Bible verse. Oh, he is gonna love that. Shout out to welcome to the party. We call you Wall. Welcome. Wall said, my position is this: any drugs that are like fentanyl or meth that shouldn't any drugs that are like fentanyl or meth or that shouldn't be completely legally available. Those with medicinal benefits should be legal but regulated. And sorry, I didn't see the continue. We will continue that below.
even though this has
Actually, we got from Equality said harming a baby is different. It's another person.
Bingo.
Yes, that's a huge thing that, like, just because you can, you're not supposed to drink coffee, you're supposed to cigarettes while you're pregnant, but we don't make those illegal. And then Equality said all these tired old arguments were or could have been used in prohibition. Remember how that turned out? Indeed, I did. Indeed, I did. And that is why I took the pro position on toots being legal. Kingdom of Anna said, could be wrong, but I think the FDA says meth can be medicinal since it's Schedule 2. I'm pretty sure you're right about that. Come on. Jesus Christ. Schedule 2. Accepted medical use with severe restrictions. Can you see this? Yeah. Despite the high abuse potential, substances in this category have an accepted medical use. The FDA has approved meth in a bunch of these different things, and we're typically talking about Vyvanse, Adderall, stuff like that. Good call. Good call. Give it a second for Wall. No, all right, we'll come back to it.
3 main points. I always like to include a Bible verse and a quote in all of my debate openings. So even though this has nothing to do with my arguments, I will recite 1 Peter 5:8. Be alert and of sober mind, because the devil prowls like a roaming lion seeking for someone to devour.
But that is relevant. You're talking about a sober mind. Why? I don't get
The
it.
government should not be that lion, but should aid the people in resisting it. As for a quote, my arguments can be summed up in one 4-word line made famous by the great Mr. Mackey. Drugs are just bad, okay?
Okay. Shout out to Death Poet. Welcome. Said Disoxin and Adderall are both pharmaceutical grade speed. That's it. Yep. It's just the good stuff.
And that's it.
That's it.
All right, Base, both coming in strong. Love this shit. Reminder to everybody in the chat. First off, hit the like, sub if you're not subbed. Both debaters are in the description tagged, so go to the description, go to both debaters, hit a like, go send them super chats. I'm sure they're both streaming right now as well too. So go show love as well on both their channels. Okay. So now what we're doing here is we have a 5-minute uninterrupted rebuttal for each of them. Okay. So we
Bruh, after all of that and you're lighting up a cigarette? Okay. All right. Okay. Sure. That would be, I would have zoned in on that. I'd be like, hey, hold up. So cigarettes should be illegal, right? You'd be like, no, definitely not. Why? Why not? Because I like them. So, Wall, if you have a better nickname that you like, let me know. But Wall said, my position is this. Any drugs that are like fentanyl or meth or that shouldn't be completely legally available. Those medicinal, those with the, I cannot read tonight. I apologize. Those with medicinal benefits should be legal but regulated. And drugs like fentanyl are a threat to national security as in small amounts can be deadly to people. The cartels already have a head start with a monopoly, but I could go on, but YouTube will make it hard. Wiz, that's what I couldn't see it. They changed all the fucking names. I don't remember. Wiz, there we go. I mean, the only thing I disagree with you is that they absolutely do use fentanyl in hospitals. I mean, it's not super common because of how strong it is, but fentanyl patches are very real. And I mean, I don't know how common they are, but widely used in like a, end of life type stuff. Yeah. So it's dangerous, but I saw this line before. I'll let Taryak say it or say it first, but he's got a good point here. So let's dive back in. So again, they just both gave their openings. Now they got 5 minutes uninterrupted to rebuttal, and then we in for it.
I just ended off there with JS, so we'll go back to Taryak. And I noticed I was using my timer that counts up, but I was searching for you guys just so to make it a little cooler for you guys. So I got you a countdown timer for the 5 minute one. All right. But yeah, so we'll start with Taryak here. You got 5 minutes for an uninterrupted rebuttal. Whenever you want to start, I'll start it up.
Obviously,
yeah. So again, like I said, I basically predicted the arguments he's going to make. It's for your safety or it's for addiction. Those are the main two arguments that he's putting forward. And like I said, if he's so concerned about people ingesting harmful material, then we have to ban bleach. Well, I don't think JS will go that far. You know what I mean? And like in terms of the whole dynamic that he's putting forward, if we were to take the same logic, then JS would ban guns. Guns are dangerous. There's all this gun death, and if we were to get rid of guns or make guns illegal, then that would reduce the gun deaths, right? And this is what, like, I think JS's main problem is. He seems like he's against communism, but he seems also to be supportive of a lot of the methodologies that communists use.
And I think this is going to be a very similar type of thing where it's not a principle when it comes to my debate with him. It's not going to be about the principle that prostitution should be illegal because anything that fits his category should be illegal. It's anything that fits the category of I don't like it and is also harmful should be illegal. But anything that is harmful that I don't have a problem with should be legal. And that's not a principle. Now, to be fair, the prompt isn't about whether it is right or wrong. It's about whether we should legalize it. I don't know. Let's keep our eyes and ears open.
But he seems also to be supportive of a lot of the methodologies that communists use. So again, in terms of the whole kind of argument that he's made, all he's trying to do is say, oh, you got to be safe. You got to, like, we got like
you in chat TV
bleach, for example. Like, what's stopping like any of these like drinking bleach? You know what I mean? And how is he going to enforce that? You know what I mean? Also, like there's many other like common household appliances that get you quote unquote high. And the reason why people go to that depth is because they can't get what they actually want. It's like the whole there's a whole forget the, like they were called head shops over here. I don't know if America had the same thing. But essentially, like, there were these stores that were like would sell like bath salts, but the bath salts were like synthetic forms of like either cocaine or some other drug. You know what I mean? So when you try to outlaw something, just as we've seen in Prohibition, you try to outlaw alcohol. The alcohol, not only like will people try to find other substances that aren't banned to get the similar effect. What happens with Prohibition is you make more money the stronger the alcohol is. So it just is incentivized to make the drug even more potent, because then you're getting more bang for your buck, especially with transportation, all this kind of stuff. So,
real quick, let's shout out our boy TV Viewerski with the $10 PayPal. Oh my goodness! Thank you. So very, very much, of course, a nice big old treat for Lazy Morty over here, and I broke it, and it dropped. So since we went through PayPal and YouTube ain't getting shit, we'll give him that other piece. Thank you. So very, very much, sir. Said nothing takes the profit out of a product like making it legal. Hail Morty. Indeed. Thank you. So very, very much, sir. And welcome to the party, of course, that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Very, very, very much appreciated, sir. And of course, Morty does as well.
Even more potent, because then you're getting more bang for your buck, especially with transportation, all this kind of stuff. So in terms of the like, it makes things safer. It actually makes things more dangerous for the homeless or the drug users and all this stuff. Because from their point of view, even from this is why I brought up the PTSD, is that like if someone is wanting to take a substance because they're in pain or to try and like no longer be in reality, it's like that is a mental illness, and you have to be able to treat that. And how would you treat typical cases? You treat them with drugs. You know what I mean? So in terms of like the regulation aspect to it as well, in my system, I'm proposing. Oh, I accidentally mute myself. In my system, like what I'm proposing is that you have like basically a medical card. So the only way you're able to get this and like what you're buying is actually what it says on the tin, and not like I'm buying off this guy and I think it's this substance, but it might have other stuff mixed into it just so it appears more potent.
You just gotta hope. And yeah, we said I'm against mainly recreational, not medicinal, or for research. I think it's stupid that some of them are so illegal that they can't be studied, and that's why it's taken so long for psilocybin to be, and MDMA for that matter, to be used specifically as we're talking about PTSD from war. Ketamine is another one. All these things have been so heavily regulated that they can't even study it. Like, we're not even talking about people sitting on the couch getting fucked up. We're talking about in a lab coat, working for people that actually might help other people. But no, drugs are bad. Drugs are bad. Death Poet said in the 70s there was Prop 19 for the legalization of marijuana. Jamaica agreed. Shout out to Jamaica. Well, my family spent 3 generations there?
Have other stuff mixed into it just so it appears more potent. And again, even when we have this regulation, we can then offer products that aren't as potent. So again, to go back to prohibition, when they reintroduced alcohol, that's when beer and wine, all this kind of stuff came back into it as well. So in terms of like when you have regulations and when you have an industry that's transparent and open, you know exactly what you're getting, and the product improves itself as well. In terms of safety guidelines, all the stuff that's wrapped into the regulations as well. So like JS doesn't really have an argument there. But with that, I can see the rest of my time.
All right.
A lot of people have said this. Stevie saying, grow your own, then you know what's in it. Yeah, but I don't want to do that. I have a job. I don't have time to do all this. The reason that I go to the plug is because that's what the plug does. That's how a society works. I have money. You have stuff that I want. We trade.
And with that, we'll bring it back over to JS for your uninterrupted rebuttal. And whenever you want to start, I'm ready to start it up.
So 5 minutes on his own.
All right. So all of Taryak's arguments break down to my freedoms. I need my freedoms. You're taking.
Yeah, right. Who cares about freedom?
What?
Very odd way to take it. Garden doesn't take a lot of time, but it takes time and money. Mushrooms are legal out here in Colorado. Shout out to Colorado. I've not seen that, but I'm sure I can imagine. I can imagine.
Arguments break down to my freedoms. I need my freedoms. You're taking my choice to do stuff. We take people's choice all the time. Are you a pro-choicer? My body, my choice. I need my drugs. What am I going to do without them? We take people's freedoms all the time. We have speed limits on the roads. We have all sorts of laws that restrict your freedoms. Your freedoms are made up. You said fentanyl is illegal, fentanyl is illegal. Prescribed drugs are still illegal. You brought up your medical card thing, your idea of a medical card. We already have that. It's called a prescription. A prescription is regulating something that's illegal without the regulation. So Oxycontin, if I had a bottle of Oxycontin on me, that would be illegal. But if I have the prescription, that's a regulation that allows me to use it in certain circumstances. It's better to have the drugs be illegal and then regulate the legal instances with somebody could use them. So overall, they'd be illegal, but there'd be these carve outs where you could use it if you have your card, like you said, or your prescription, which we already do that. And so you could still keep those drugs illegal and allow certain uses at some time. You were talking about being able to buy Tylenol or something or Advil over the counter. I hope you're not arguing that we should be able to buy fentanyl over the counter. We have our card, so we're going to walk into a Walmart with our card and we're going to be able to buy fentanyl over the counter. Like, that would be crazy. I don't know if that's your argument, so we'll talk more about that. Your whole story about some tweaker did some meth sometimes and he did math really fast.
Ooh, equality with the killer. Oh, give me a second here. StreamYard, get the Rumble chats in there. Hey, if you gotta, edit them or whatever, I'll take that over nothing. But equality said your freedoms are made up. So is the concept of harm, dipshit. Got him. Got him. Shout out to Liberty Plus TV. Welcome to the party. So it's weird when people say we take away freedoms all the time, when in reality, these people aren't doing anything. They just don't realize they're powerless because they agree with the powerful. Bingo. And that's not exactly, but kind of what I was saying earlier, is that I don't think he has this principle that it's okay to take away freedom because of harm. I think he doesn't like drugs and he doesn't like prostitution. So he is working backwards for a reason to support we shouldn't do drugs and we shouldn't go to prostitutes. And by and large, I agree with those things. I just don't think the government needs to be the arbiter of morality. And if you're a Christian, then it really is, what does it say about your faith when you think that most people are going to believe and adopt your faith as a Christian nationalist, and yet they still need the government to tell them not to do drugs? Like, why? What's the point of the Christianity then? Death Pone said, I've taken all of the drugs before I was 34, except PCP and MDMA. I had so much fun. I've gotten everything up to like a certain level, and then I went a little higher when it came higher, no pun intended, with the downers, because I just don't like uppers. So I mean, obviously I've done coke, I've done ecstasy and MDMA, and same thing with different forms. But I've never done meth or crystal or anything like that. I have done Adderall, but I went to college. Who didn't? And then on the other side, I've only done the heroin a couple times. I never shot it. I only snorted it. And I went with, Percocet, Oxy, if you can name it, and it's an opioid. I have had it. And yeah, it was good times until it was time to stop. And, hey, we ain't here for a long time. We're here for a good time.
Isn't very compelling. Yeah, when you do meth, you get a lot of shit done. Yeah. But you also destroy your body, you destroy your mind, your teeth fall out, your skin gets destroyed.
Yeah, but his initial question in his opening statement was, who are you, or who is the government to tell me that I can't do that?
Age faster. And to say that meth is not addictive is crazy. I don't know what contest this is about. Some guy gave a guy a bet that he couldn't not do meth for a month, and then he did it for $500. Were they drug testing him? Like, this sounds okay. Maybe he didn't do meth for a month, but I just don't see how we could pump out we're gonna get a lot of work done if we're all high on meth. I don't know if you know many meth heads, but that's not gonna work out good for you.
I just, based on looking and having talked to Taryak a couple times, I would guarantee you he knows more meth heads than you do.
Let's see. And also, if you can't think without a performance enhancing drug, then you probably just suck at doing your job. If you need meth to be able to do math faster, then that's like
You use pre-workout? Oh, weakling.
Personal problem. You should get better at math. Einstein didn't need to smoke a bunch of meth all day. And
I'm pretty sure Einstein was a cokehead. This is absolutely worth a side quest. We'll go to ChatGPT. Is it true that Albert Einstein... Is that how you spell Einstein? Oh, capital. Used uppers and other drugs. Let's just see that. I'm pretty sure. I don't want to be, slandering anybody here. But there was that show on, I think it was on Nat Geo, actually, where they like really went into his life, and I'm pretty sure that was one of it, and I could be wrong, so we'll see. Okay, so there's no solid evidence that Albert Einstein regularly used uppers like amphetamines or other stimulants, narcotics, or recreational drugs. All right, fair enough. Caffeine, nicotine, prescription drugs. Some popular books and internet posts exaggerate or conflate Einstein's use of caffeine or tobacco with modern smart drug use, but there's no historical weapons. So no. Oh, that's what it was. He was a philanderer. That's what it was. So apologies to Einstein. TV. Oh my goodness. I figured it out. Each person can have 2 drugs that can be legal for each person. The problem comes when you introduce a third vice. So then the question becomes, so wait. Each person gets 2 drugs that are legal for them? Is that what you're saying? Because I think that is brilliant. I think that's brilliant. If you were allowed to you're card carrying. Yes, I am a cocaine and marijuana. Well, let's do take marijuana. I'm a cocaine and opiate, whatever, and you're good. I think I like that. I like that. Let me say, I think property owners should be allowed to ban drugs. From who? What? We said you only need so little to get an OD. Yeah. My view is that if you're taking drugs, you shouldn't go to jail. If you're distributing or producing these drugs, you should. That's a much easier argument to make, absolutely. Because even if we were to say, yes, these are legal now, then some schmuck on the street just selling it is not the same thing. Now, if we had a completely different type of libertarian society where market forces were the only thing at play, then I would disagree with you. I'd say, hey, sell solid drugs that people actually want, or nobody's going to come back to you. But that's not the world that we live in. Sigmund Freud was definitely a cokehead. Yep, meth was all over Germany. Dead Post said, I tripped balls on LSD with my oldest friend when we were 15. Told our moms that we were going bowling. We both swore we saw the Shah of Iran in the back of an Impala. Maybe it did. Section 230 said my overall regulation would be not in public. If you want to get high off whatever, do it at home or at your friend's house. I'd regulate alcohol consumption the same. I like that. Although the biggest issues we see around drugs or alcohol is when people use them in public or use and then go out. Agreed. Shout out to Barry. Welcome. Said I believe they were using psychedelics to enhance part of their brain. Apparently, to ChatGPT, that's not the case. But, on the low, we already know. If you're thinking like that, then you're probably thinking something. Welcome. Very good to see ya. We also got the captain of the Moral Felon Crew. Welcome, Adam. Very good to see ya. Said if the drug is naturally occurring and regulations are in place, but it's a no for synthetics. Nah, I disagree with that. I think that's a very I've never done drugs type of take. That's a very I've never really gotten into it type of take, because you can see that there are things that grow to the ground that will kill you. But we have a whole industry of food science of chemicals that's not good, but certainly not as bad as ODing on some, or even LSD is, you can't OD on that. Larry said, you can't stop people from doing drugs. Bingo. You can get drugs in prisons. So even if the entire country was a prison, you still wouldn't be able to stop it. Yep. And that's what I'm saying. Yep. I agree. And not to say that if it is chemical, it is automatically safer. I'm just saying that it exactly as Section 230 is saying that it can be. And so that is a distinction that doesn't really apply. Because, hey, where do you think they get the heroin from? Poppies grow out of the ground.
Personal problem. You should get better at math. Einstein didn't need to smoke a bunch of meth all day. And I've heard of him, but I've never heard of the tweaker that you talked about.
Sigmund Freud, though.
So, let's see. Oh, you brought up psychedelics for depression and stuff like that. I was going to bring that up, and we'll talk about that in the opening. I don't know if you want to make that argument. Last night you were talking about the CIA and the mind control. Yeah, they'll use these psychedelics to mess with our heads. So
only the government should be able to use these? What kind of argument is that? Shout out to Morgoth's Hammer over on Rumble. Welcome to the party. Also said, liked, and shared. My goodness. Thank you again, guys. That stuff helps out so very, very much, even though it's free and it's easy for you. Even if you don't think anybody's going to click on the link, just by you telling the platform that you want more people to see it, they will show it to more people. Thank you, and welcome to the party. Let's finish up this opening rebuttal.
Yeah, they'll use these psychedelics to mess with our heads. I know they're using mushrooms and ketamine for depression now, but I'll save that one for the open conversation, because we're going to get into that one.
Okay.
Treatment over punishment. It doesn't work. You can find as many statistics that say that it does work as I can find that say that it doesn't work. Somebody who goes, many addicts will tell you that getting arrested and going to jail was the best thing that ever happened to them. Many addicts that go to a 30-day cushy rehab that they're forced to go to come out, and then they relapse and they die because they use the same amount when they get out that they had when they went in. The recidivism rates are hard to find on that to compare the jails versus the rehabs, but I don't know. I don't know. We'll get into that. Drugs are not the right to bear arms. You don't have a constitutional right to use drugs. You have a constitutional right to bear arms. You don't have a constitutional.
Okay, so what if you didn't? So if you didn't, then you'd be in favor of banning guns. So this is my point, that you don't have a principle behind what you're saying. You just, I don't like it. Well, I don't like that people are dying from guns, but the government says so. It's like, what is the principle that you hold to? Right? So it reminds me of that one interview with that guy. They asked, what would he do if he won the lottery? And he gave him a straight answer: hookers and coke. Why not? Why not? Adam said it's not about being safer or not. It's that they are man-made and they fall under society to deduce how they are or to decide how they are used. But why wouldn't we just determine whether it's safe or not based on what it is versus whether it's natural or not?
Constitutional right to use drugs. You have a constitutional right to bear arms. You don't have a constitutional right to shoot heroin in the streets or wherever you want to do it. And about potency, you talked about the potency, and it's cleaner if you get it legally. Potency goes up when you legalize. Once it's legal, manufacturers can drive the potency up.
To be fair, I don't think he said that the Constitution grants rights. Did he say that? I think to give him the benefit of the doubt, I think he just means that there is precedent for why we can't ban guns. I think that's all he was trying to say. Thank you, Barry. See, doing better than my own fucking mods in here. Shout out to Barry.
And guys, once it's legal, manufacturers can drive the potency up and get more customers. That's how they get more money. They drive the potency up. So that's all. I think I touched on everything he said.
All right, perfect. Now, I just one more time remind the chat, you can find both debaters in the description of the live. Okay, so go over there, make sure you sub to both. You can go over there. They're both live, so send them both super chats. Show love to both sides. Okay, showing up, coming in strong here right at the start. We're gonna move this over now to an hour of open floor. Okay, so they're both able to have a back and forth now. Just if it gets too crazy, I plan to do as little as possible here. If it gets too crazy talking over each other, I'll step in to make sure we rein that in. Or
boys. If you know, you know. Margot said, yeah, they can also use guns on us. Should we ban guns? Obviously not. Does this whoa. Morgoth's Hammer saying this. I'm not throwing any shade, but does this hick not understand that the Constitution does not give us our rights, but rather lists some of them? Do we have a constitutional right to use cell phones or modern medicine? Nope. But we do. But yeah, it's exactly to your point. It's not written there. Exactly. Good point. We got Waco Mine in the building. Welcome to the party. So perhaps the answer is to make the drug companies illegal. Opioid epidemic. Anyone? Fentanyl crisis. Made in a lab, and you can put you on the slab. See, this is just what I was saying to Adam. That's not necessarily the case. But welcome to the party. Section 230 said God grants our rights. Constitution tells government what they can't infringe upon. Force doctrine protects our rights. I mean, God, universe, whatever you want to say, but yes. Yeah, I mean, there definitely would be less deaths, but that doesn't, that's a utilitarian argument. So if we get rid of everything that can cause less deaths, or anything that can cause death, we get rid of it, then we don't have anything. So the Constitution informs us what the federal government can't do, but everything not in it is a state's issue. Isn't that how it's supposed to work? Yep. I said everyone deserves the free like button smash. Doesn't take much for someone to hit the free like button. I like this guy, Dilly Barry. I like this guy. All right, diving back in.
It's too crazy talking over each other. I'll step in to make sure we rein that in, or if you guys maybe go too off course, I'll rein it back in there too. But other than that, I'm gonna let you guys control how this goes. Good luck to you both, and everyone in the chat. Again, I'm gonna open up the Q&A for anyone who wants to ask questions. The last 30 minutes will be a Q&A, and super chatted questions get priority. Boys, the floor is open.
So let me ask if this is specifically about federal law. That does not say it. Again, just to read it out. Should currently illegal drugs be legalized and regulated? That is the prompt, and Taryak is saying yes, they should be legalized and regulated, and JS Urban Adventures is saying no. God does not, and are just philosophy that well, let's not get into that tonight.
And super chatted questions get priority. Boys, the floor is open.
Yeah, so JS, like this whole thing about like we need to make sure or enforce that like we only have safe substances. So like in terms of bleach, how would you enforce that people don't drink bleach?
Oh yeah, I didn't bring up the bleach thing. Bleach is not a drug. Bleach is a cleaning chemical, and if you ingest it, it's a poison.
Okay, well then what's the difference between a chemical and a drug?
So I thought about maybe bringing up ricin or rat poisoning.
Yeah,
those are poisons. Those aren't drugs.
Yeah, but you also said that drugs are poison. But these illicit drugs are poison that they're putting into the system.
I said,
and then I counted that by saying that you have all these benefits that you can get with these quote unquote illicit drugs. So in terms of like safety, if your main concern here is for like the safety of the individual, what are we going to do to stop someone from drinking bleach?
If people started drinking bleach to get high, like you'd be okay with it.
What? I think that went right over your head. We're challenging the principle behind it. It's harmful. Therefore, it should be illegal.
Drinking bleach to get high, like you'd be okay with it.
That might have been a good question if you'd put that. Well, what if people were there was an epidemic of people drinking bleach to get high? What then, Taryak? That would have been how I would have. Well, you just think this. Nope.
Because it's legal already.
Right, but it's a poison. It's not a drug. Nobody's gonna categorize bleach as a drug.
Yeah, okay. So like in terms of like knives, should we ban knives to reduce knife crime?
No, we have a right to defend ourselves. We have a right to go hunting.
So where in the Constitution does it say you have a right to knives?
You have a right to bear arms. Your arms could be knives.
Yeah, so like in terms of dynamics,
knives have a
yeah. Haven't you ever seen Edward Scissorhands?
In terms of your solution, the logic you would say is we need to ban all knives. We need to ban all guns. We need to ban all bleach.
Knives have multiple different purposes. Bleach has multiple different purposes. Knives aren't just made to kill people. Bleach isn't just made to be ingested and killed. Drugs are made to be ingested.
To be ingested, yeah.
Yeah.
For what purpose? To get high? To have fun? To fix your brain chemistry? Doesn't have one specific purpose, and not all of those purposes are bad. And even if they are, there's no reasonable legal precedent to say that we shouldn't do that philosophically. Barry said it's a tough situation, I think, because when it becomes federal, no. Oh, we got a federal no. I think the class scheduling that we have is not a bad system. It's just the way, like the fact that marijuana is Schedule 1 federally. Like, what are we doing here? I don't think having the different classes is inherently a bad idea. They really fucked it up. Let me say, I've been saying for years, people only want drugs illegal because they make you feel good. It has nothing to do with a principle about safety or something. Bingo. Agreed. And yet again, as we are kind of drawing parallels between the debate that I'm going to have with JS about legalizing prostitution, he's going to make the same kind of arguments. Adam said, anything that would shorten your life is a poison. Oof, that is a broad category. What about skydiving? If you skydive a lot, you're so okay. You didn't say possible. So anything that would I would add anything you that would shorten your life if ingested. That's where I was going with that. But yeah, not a bad definition. But then JS is going to have an issue differentiating with legal poisons and where he wants to make the drugs illegal.
And killed. Drugs are made to be ingested.
To be ingested, yeah.
Yeah.
So we have something that's not made to be ingested, but it's legal. But then we have something that is made to be ingested, and that is illegal.
Yeah, great point here from Morgoth's Hammer. Said, nonsensical distinction. I disagree that it's nonsensical. I think it's very, very relevant. All substances in excess become poisonous. Too much of a good thing will kill you. Amazing, amazing point. And yeah, Death Poet saying someone's choice to about a society is not my business. I'm saying if you think that scheduling of drugs is fine, then you agree with me. Yeah, fair enough.
Good. Well, it's legal, but then we have something that is made to be ingested, and that is illegal.
Yeah, if you're gonna
Before they go on, so just to tie ball with that, generally my position is that regulation is somewhat necessary for drugs being in society. What I don't want is it to be banned. And also, I have an issue with the types of like prison sentences and stuff like that. You know, we have somebody who all the time talks about how their dad got 60 years in prison for you know a tiny little bit of something, and I don't think that helps anybody. I don't think that helps society. I don't think that helps the person. I don't think that does anything. We said, I mean, the issue people on that's the issue. People on drugs don't work and pay taxes or fight wars and have good families. You sure about that? It's not safety. It's simply cohesion. This is why decentralization is the best. Make it is the best. Make it municipal. I'm down with that. I think we do still, you know, that does beg the question of like we have to have a federal position. Like if it's completely up to the states, that's still a federal position. But yeah, I don't agree. Nomenclature is very, very important. Semantics matters here. People on drugs, is everyone getting their caffeine fix before their 9 to 5? Bingo. Yep. Actually, the way I look at is humans. Or humans all die from a handful of things that we can count on one hand, which is cancer. Things of that nature, things they currently don't even have or want to cure. If you're not hurting anyone, then who are you to, or who are we to tell people what to do? I'm right there with you. Right there with you.
Ingested, and that is illegal.
Yeah, if you're gonna
wait, what?
Drugs are made to be ingested.
To be ingested, yeah.
Yeah.
So we have something that's not made to be ingested, but it's legal. But then we have something that is made to be ingested, and that is illegal.
Yeah, if you're gonna
that makes no sense.
Ingest knives, and if somebody was, let's say, taking a knife and doing something to self-harm themselves or self-harm others, we would lock them up.
Yeah, but we wouldn't ban knives.
There you go. You don't ban the tool. You don't ban the thing. It is the person.
Or self-harm others, we would lock them up.
I believe that is the case. But you know, that this is often thrown as a red herring because of the fact that you know, Portugal, I think, what else am I thinking of? There's I always mix up specific things about Portugal and Venezuela. I can't remember which is which. So let's do a little Google. Did Portugal legalize? No, Portugal did not legalize all drugs, but it did decriminalize personal use in 2001 by replacing criminal penalties. Oh, that's not the right one. Criminal penalties with administrative ones for possessing small quantities of drugs. Possession is still illegal and trafficking remains a criminal offense, but individuals caught with the small amounts are not arrested. Instead, they may be summoned by a commission of dissuasion of drug addiction, and if found to be a user, are often offered treatment instead of prison. So, yeah, the difference between decriminalization and legalization. If you know, the law does not make it drug use illegal, still prohibited, and criminal penalties still apply to trafficking. Yeah, instead of facing criminal charges and prison time, they'll get administrative penalties and a focus on treatment. Okay, yeah. So, but you know, I don't know why, but I always mix up the Portugal. What is, I don't know, but yes, essentially yes. No, they didn't legalize, they decriminalized, but essentially yes. Who's Barry? Is that JS? I don't know. Shout out to Barry. What happened? Oh, Jesus. Struggle streaming.
Yeah, but we wouldn't ban knives.
There
we go. Yeah, but
right, exactly. So we shouldn't ban drugs.
No, because again, drugs are made to be ingested. Knives are not made to.
So that's when you go in. Okay, so why is it that something made to be ingested that is dangerous is inherently different legally than something that's not made to be ingested but is also dangerous? These are distinction without a difference.
No, because again, drugs are made to be ingested. Knives are not made to stab people or to hurt yourself with.
Yeah. And
the drug is specifically designed to be ingested and get you.
Yeah,
get you hooked.
The person using the drug, it's there.
Oh, I'm retarded. I thought we were calling somebody up here Barry. Like, like Obama Barry. I don't know. I'm out of it today, guys. This is why I'm not going on all these panels after the show tonight. We will do it for a little bit, but shout out again to Barry. Sorry about that.
Invested and get you hooked.
The person using the drug, it's their intention that matters. So someone who has a knife and intends to stab someone else with it, that's something we should prevent, but we shouldn't ban knives. Same way with the drugs, someone's taking drugs to harm themselves, then we should prevent that. But it's the behavior that they're doing, not the actual substance.
And we shouldn't have speed limits.
Yeah, but have the Autobahn in Germany, there is no speed limit.
See, I could flip this on you. You just want to...
No. You brought up the whole traffic thing. Let's get into it. The Autobahn, there is no speed limit. There is no speed limit on the Autobahn.
They have one road in one country in the world where there's no speed limit.
And how do those roads, or how does that road compare to all the other roads that do have speed limits?
It's actually multiple countries. I'm pretty sure there's a road in China as well where it's the same thing.
Whatever. We wouldn't make every drug not have a speed limit.
What do you mean a drug have a speed limit?
Why do I have
That's
to drive...
what you do with regulations, as in you cannot sell a product that would literally kill someone if they were to ingest it.
Why do I have to drive 20 miles per hour in a school zone? See, so this is the same thing. You're saying my freedoms. I didn't know. I didn't expect you to just go with the basic my freedoms argument, but
no, what I'm pointing out is your logic. I predicted your arguments, which was addiction and safety. And now I've counted those.
Yes, my argument is case by case, we ban certain illicit substances that are meant to get people addicted and get people high and that cause harm to society. Bleach isn't one of those substances. There's not a
bleach cannot cause harm.
There's not an epidemic of people drinking bleach.
Yeah, there's not an epidemic of people being strung out on drugs.
Yes, there is.
There definitely is.
Lots of them.
Where?
There's the crack epidemic. There's the opioid epidemic. China had a opium. What do they call them? Opium house epidemic.
I said you forgot about Barry. All those drugs coming back to bite you. Oh, that's embarrassing. I apologize, Barry. Did we run him off because I forgot? Oh man.
China had a opium. What do they call them? Opium house epidemic. There's lots of.
And we've had a war on drugs, and there's still more, as much drugs as there ever was.
And the war on drugs has worked over.
Has it though? Unless the goal was to get more drugs and more potent drugs, then it definitely has not.
How has it worked?
Over time, addiction
it lost the battle against alcohol when they tried to prohibit. It lost the battle against marijuana, and it's
hey. At least he's on the side of legalizing the drugs. The other guy is saying, no, ban all drugs, and then lights up a cigarette.
Come on, man.
It lost the battle against alcohol when they tried to prohibit. It lost the battle against marijuana, and it keeps losing battles
against alcohol.
It did.
Why is it legal? Because they lost the battle.
No, it affected all sorts of things.
They prohibited it, and then they realized this does not work.
No, they prohibited it. They prohibited it, and then they realized they could make money to pull themselves out of the Great Depression, so they let people have it again.
Yeah, and then in terms of marijuana, marijuana, they prohibited, and now it's been legalized across America, Canada, basically all across the West. It's starting to get legalized.
Yeah, and now they're thinking about repealing that in the Netherlands, and we should repeal it in America too. We should get rid of that. Also, we just decriminalized.
Jay, this point towards the war on drugs is lost because they're taking these illicit substances. Yeah, exactly. So like this whole thing of like reefer madness, marijuana is so dangerous, it's going to cause you crazy, and then it's like you realize you actually see someone smoke a joint and they fall asleep. Like that's the great danger.
And then they order DoorDash. I said, of course. Adam said to Barry, people doing drugs is a harm to society, and we have plenty of evidence of that. Have you ever had someone close to you on drugs? It does a great deal of harm to you and to them. And Adam agrees. And again, restates it is a tough situation. It's much broader than that. It's hard to say. There would be a lot of thought that goes into it, but also lots of damage. There's definitely damage with drugs. That is why Taryak brought that up in the beginning, that there is clearly damage and harm that comes from this. But if that is the standard, A causes harm, therefore it is illegal, then we have a whole shit ton of stuff that needs to be illegal. Barry said, you want skydiving? I went skydiving 5 times. If it was my time, it was my time. I guess I'm still here. It wasn't my time. I've only gone once. And I said the same exact shit. I was like, hey, if I'm gonna go, this is gonna be a good way to go. And I was in Hawaii, so oh my goodness. Oh, I gotta find that video just to have it around. It's on my Facebook somewhere back in the ages, but all of that stuff. But yeah, I want to go again. Oh man, I want to go again. Shout out to B. Hey, welcome to the party. Said I live in California. The homeless people are given crack pipes, syringes, money, Netflix, a new phone with data, etc. It's a shithole here. They smell like yeast infection and urine. Well, I think to be fair to California, because we can shit all over California without having to bullshit. This is the cost of this is the product of a half measure. This is the product of a half measure. You can't do half measures. Either we are here to support people who are on drugs and we have an industry around that, or we don't. You can't just enable and help a little bit and then be like, well, we're helping. Because on the other side of it, just because I don't even know if this is the case, but let's say less people are dying from drugs, but more people are on the streets doing it. And like I think it was Adam before who said that it's Adam or Liberty, I don't know, one of you motherfuckers talking about being in public. And so the what California is doing is only exacerbating the problem, even though there are aspects of this in terms of giving clean needles and stuff that would be a part of the recovery industry. But it wouldn't be the only part. That's why California sucks. Just the little tiniest bit to say, well, we're doing something. So, I mean, Wake on Mine said milk is obviously the gateway drug. Mammals get on progressively more potent substances as they mature. Pretty soon they're eating vegetables and talking about peace and universal brotherhood.
How dare you?
Except the meth heads, they vote Nazi every time. Every time. Every single time. Well, I said, the war on drugs has worked. Did he really just fucking say that? He tried to. It didn't stay long. Morgoth said the problem with the Cali situation is the goddamn subsidies handed out to the fucking losers. Drug abuse in a natural setting is self-correcting. Bingo. Exactly. If we have a full measure, then maybe it's not self-correcting in the sense that people will do it on their own, but there are the mechanisms there that it is easier for, like, it's not fun to be an addict. I don't know if you guys know this. It's not fun to be an addict. Most people who are addicts choose to be addicts more than they choose to be productive members of society. But that is based on their immediate circumstances. If you could take them out of that immediate circumstances and tell them, you can hit a button where you can just be on the streets doing whatever drug you want all day, every day, no consequences, no nothing. You got to worry about your own money, but everything else, or we wind back the clock, and you've never tried any of this, and you go on that road. Yeah, there are going to be some people who choose that life. That's always how it's going to be. But most of them don't want to be addicts. And if there is something there that we can help people, then just saying drugs bad, that's not an answer. Now, if you want to take the position that, hey, I think drugs are gross, so I want them to be illegal. All right, fair enough. But that is not a principled stance. That's just your opinion, man.
You actually see someone smoke a joint and they fall asleep. Like, that's the great danger.
Okay, but it dumbs down the population.
Not necessarily. Because when you talk about like amphetamine and stuff like that stuff doesn't dumb you down or doesn't like make you chill.
I don't think that's a winning point.
Shit like makes you want to do work.
Taryak, not Liberty. So what is Liberty saying? The government isn't deciding what drugs are available and which drugs aren't. You can get any drug. They're just controlling what is sold on the black market and what's not. And what you're going to spend a life in prison for versus get a slap on the wrist. We all in there, yeah, I mean. Waco said the natural setting stopped for most humans about 10,000 years ago. Yeah, we're due for an upgrade. We're due for an upgrade.
I can give you marijuana. Even if I give you marijuana, I don't have to.
Okay, thank you.
I don't have to sit here and say that we need to make alcohol and pot illegal.
Yeah. The reason why I'm bringing up
wait, what?
Work. I can give you marijuana. Even if I give you marijuana, I don't have to.
I think he means the legalization. Okay.
I don't have to sit here and say that we need to make alcohol and pot illegal.
Yeah.
Okay, but then if you're going to say that, now you're making a distinction. So why are those drugs different? Are you saying alcohol and marijuana are not harmful? Are you saying people don't get addicted to them? Are you saying that, like, all of the things that you're saying, well, these other drugs should be legal? It's just a difference in those are worse. And so, again, if you're going to make the argument, okay, look, you're right that in a libertarian society, we should be able to do whatever we want. But of course, we don't allow people to, just chop their arms off or whatever. And so there has to be some type of semi-arbitrary way to establish this is too far. That would be a very good argument. I hope he's not watching. Please don't use that argument against me.
Marijuana. I don't have to sit here and say that we need to make alcohol and pot illegal.
Yeah. The reason why
you
I'm
wanna
bringing up marijuana.
Hold up. Adam said way too much pride in having done drugs. I hope you all reflect on the people in your life that has had a toll on emotionally and financially. Fuck you. Fuck you. The pride is not in having done drugs. The pride is in having come back from that, from surviving that. Don't fucking tell me that I need to think about what it's done to the people in my life. I know. I fucking watched it. This is exactly what I knew from your first comment, that you didn't know what the fuck you're talking about. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Maybe you should think about it. Do you think there's a reason why people get off drugs? Everybody's just sitting around, doesn't care, right? You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I'm sorry if you've had people in your life who have been on drugs. I can absolutely sympathize with that. I, luckily have not experienced that because I was that person. But to act as if those people don't think about it, what you're not understanding is the addiction is stronger than that. That is the whole fucking point. That is why they call it an addiction. I will rant all the fucking way I want. I am butthurt because you're talking shit and you know what the fuck you're talking about.
Alcohol and pot illegal.
Yeah. The reason why I'm bringing up marijuana. The reason why I'm bringing up marijuana is because the state itself was trying to push the message that marijuana makes you crazy.
Well, you need to reflect. You need to reflect on the toll you've caused the people in your life. Don't project your bullshit on me. Don't project your bullshit on me.
Crazy. And it turns out, no, it doesn't.
Maybe it does.
They lied. So it's the same tactic that you're using right now, where it's like the fear of like your safety and addiction, and all that shit, which are unrelated to the actual substance.
We're seeing a lot of kids.
It's called coping. It's called coping. So we went through a very tumultuous period in our lives. And so I could sit here and cry. Would you watch if I did that? Or is it better to make the jokes about it while I am actively talking about how it's not good and you shouldn't be doing that? Didn't think so.
Kids who schizophrenic people, young people, when they use marijuana, they're more likely to get addicted. It hurts their brain development. So yeah.
Then why are we giving kids amphetamines then legally?
So other than using propaganda to discourage people from doing things that could potentially harm them, and we're going to have it legal, but how are we going to discourage people from doing it? Other than
because the same argument, the same argument could be made against homosexuals, where it's like that's like a harmful behavior. But like what two consenting adults do in the privacy of their own home is at no odds to me.
That's fine. I know. It's
yeah.
freedoms. The freedoms.
Yeah. So if what's wrong with that? What's wrong with freedom?
The freedom to be degenerate. That's not.
I would rather have dangerous.
Was founded on.
This is the line. This is the line. I was like, ooh, I gotta write that down. I gotta write this down. Shout out to Taryak for this one. So let's back it up a little bit.
Yeah. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with freedom?
The freedom to be degenerate. That's not.
I would rather have dangerous.
Was founded on.
I would rather have dangerous freedom than comfortable slavery.
I would rather have a dangerous freedom over comfortable slavery. God damn. Dilly Taryak. I mean, Taryak can be annoying as shit. I like him, but he can definitely get on my nerves. But that was a bar. That was a bar.
I would rather have dangerous freedom than comfortable slavery.
Dangerous
or safe slavery.
Comfortable slavery.
Yeah.
Or we can find a middle ground. So let's say we legalize pot. We let people drink. How are you going to regulate the date rape drug? How are you going to regulate? Oh, and you brought up designer drugs, Flocka, Spice, 70H, which is gas station heroin. You know what we did to stop people from gnawing other people's faces off after they smoked bath salts? We made it illegal.
Adam says, not a damn word has been spoken about drugs other than your good times. That's not true at all. That's just not true. Like, you can go back and look at the times I've talked about how I've tried to get off. I've used this fucking piece of paper right here. This piece of paper right here. Where is it? Right here. Come on. I've used this piece of paper right here to represent the size of a Suboxone strip that I used and how horrible it was for me. I'm sorry, Adam, that you've had people like me who have made bad decisions like I made bad decisions, and it has happened to you. I apologize on behalf of the people in your life who have done that. But to act as if it's just a flippancy and that I haven't thought about that, to accuse me of that, maybe ask me about it. You don't know me. Ask questions instead of assuming. You remember what we talked about when you assign motives to things that you don't understand? I don't want to fight with you, brother. But like that, I am butthurt. I am triggered. I'm not gonna fucking lie. That hurt my fucking feelings. I spent a lot of time literally wanting to end myself because of the things that I was doing to myself and to my family. So don't tell me that I need to reflect. I know exactly what the fuck I did, and that's exactly why I don't do it anymore. That's exactly why, despite the jokes I make, that I tell people not to do it. Come on, brother. You said you. Did you not say you? Am I not you all? Like, fine. If you didn't mean it that way, I don't care to make the whole fucking show about this. But you said that I personally, among everybody, needs to reflect on the people in my life when you have no idea what I think about the people in my life. So fine. General comment. Let's put it aside. Yeah, okay. I'm fine. I am sorry. Will you accept my apology? I'm sorry that I said fuck you. Come on, dude. Why are we doing that? Why are we doing that? It's just I just put it on screen. I just put it on screen. I'm saying let's move over, go over this. Come on. You said that. Maybe you didn't mean it a certain way. I took it in a certain way. The way I took it is a very reasonable response. And now you're saying you meant it in a different way. Okay. Are we cool? All right, whatever you say, brother.
This is off after they smoke bath salts.
Don't say I never tried.
Sorry, I was changing my headphones. What was the last part?
We made those things illegal. We made spice illegal. We made bath salts illegal. And hopefully soon we'll make 7-OH illegal.
And if we already had cocaine readily available, regulate all stuff, these head shops or smoke shops never would have existed.
No, people are still going to fix.
Genuine question, man. What would you like from me right now? I've already apologized. I understand now. You said that you didn't mean me specifically. I'm apologizing. What else can I do now? 7-OH is the fucking devil. 7-OH is you know how they have like dabs for weed? It's dabs for kratom. Do not ever touch 7-OH. Should it be illegal? No. Do not touch it. It will fuck your life up. I've never even tried it, but just from the people I've seen on TikTok, it's like I mean, it's just think about it. Just think about the difference in, you know, marijuana. Okay. See again. Apologies. Because I came right after this. I thought it was, of course. I'm like, no, of course. All right.
Dilly dilly. Dilly dilly. Dilly dilly. Dilly dilly. Dilly dilly. Dilly dilly. Dilly dilly.
See, there we go. That's how men handle our shit. You know, sometimes we misunderstand. I'm far from perfect. There we go. I fucking need a benzo. What else did I miss? I never want to be butthurt. No, there's no pain verse for me. Oh my goodness. Well, all I gotta say, behave. You never know until you try. But pain is what you're worried about. Maybe I'm not the one for you, man. Waco said, so do drugs create the submissive or create the submissive, or exploit the tendencies already present within personalities? Ooh. I mean, unfortunately, the unsatisfying answer is it depends. But I think that the latter, exploiting the tendencies that are already present, is a huge factor. Now, I don't know exactly what you mean by create the submissive, but create the mindset where, oh, I can steal stuff from my parents and I can sell my roommate's vintage fucking guitar amp that's probably worth $5,000 when he's in class. Me and my roommate can go and sneak out of the house and sell it for $150 and split it. That didn't come. That is not who I am as a person. But I did those things. I did those things. So I really don't know. But I would say, unfortunately, it is more of exploiting the tendencies that are already there. I think if you take the best person, most honest person in the world, and they are down bad on drugs, they still probably will at least think about stealing stuff, because when you're in that mindset, it's not even a rational thing. It's a one-dimensional. It's either how do I get money to get high, or how do I get high. That is all there is. And you understand that the rest of the world exists. You just don't care. That's a great question. I don't know. I really don't know. Larry said I did a rare Russian benzo and blacked out for almost 2 days. God damn, those benzos ain't no joke. Who's done the purple salvia? Me. I miss salvia. Salvia is a fun one. There's no reason that salvia should be illegal. That shit. It was a little bit scary, but fun. Definitely. They said I drank a weed-infused mango drink. I had the worst experience and ended up in the hospital with puke all over myself. What? God damn. How much fucking weed was in that? Maybe you're allergic to mangoes. You ever think of that? Because mango does bond with the THC cannabinoids or whatever and make it stronger. Maybe it's the mango. You never know. Like we said, apparently 90+% people who are lifelong addicts were sexually abused as kids. Not surprising. All right, let's dive back in here.
And if we already had cocaine,
7 each,
readily available, regulate all stuff, these head shops or smoke shops never would have existed.
No, people are still going to figure out new ways to make new drugs to get high. That's always going to happen.
But when you have something like cocaine or MD,
so then you're saying if there's always going to be a new drug, then your prescription is continue the war on drugs and try to play whack-a-mole with every new drug that comes out.
Like, there's no point in trying to make it competitive to that, because it's
maybe it was the mango.
Cocaine or MDMA, like, there's no point in trying to make it competitive to that, because it's already that good that it's, even the fact that it's legal, it's still selling like hotcakes.
MDMA was, when it first came out, it wasn't illegal. It was a new drug that they used.
And we survived. Somehow we survived, JS.
No, they made it illegal, is what they did.
Yes.
That's
because they don't want people, because they don't want people being happy.
How dare they? Well, I said, does our good hillbilly not understand a rather fundamental difference between harming the self versus harming others? It is beyond his comprehension. Again, to be fair, I think he is trying to say that the harm itself is a reason. I think that's what he's honing in on. And that is why Taryak is bringing up all these different examples of other things that are harmful. Because again, if the standard is, it is harmful and not necessary, therefore illegal, then there's a lot of other things that fall into that category. There's just an example as to what certain people go through. We don't know. Yep. You never know.
Yes. Because they don't want people, because they don't want people being happy.
They don't want people being happy. They give it to a couple sitting on a couch, give them some ecstasy, leave the room, and you come back later, and all of a sudden all their relation problems are fixed, and they're like, oh, yeah, and they just got it on.
I mean, it kind of does work like that. My college girlfriend, we were like 2 years or so into the relationship. We were having, some kind of, just regular relationship issues, fighting a lot, whatever. We broke up. And that is when I did acid for the first time. Right? Yeah. asked it for the first time. And before the trip was over, I was like, baby, we need to get back together. I know what I did wrong. I mean, it works. It works. I was like, nah, them weed drinks is crazy. Only time I ever tripped on THC, it was on a drink. 1,200 milligrams per quarter can?
What?
For reference, guys, I don't have one down here, but if you've ever, you've seen the syringes of the straight up THC stuff that that I like, what they would put in the cookies to make it weed cookies. They just distill that, and I'll buy a syringe about that long, maybe that thick. It's about that much, and it's just a syringe. It's not a needle. It's just a syringe and has an opening, and then you just squirt it into your mouth. That whole thing is 2,000 milligrams, and that'll last me at the very, very, very least a week, probably closer to 2, and maybe 3 if I'm stretching it. 1,200 per quarter can. That is insane. I don't think it was the mango then. I love mangoes. It was California weed infused drink. I had mad hallucinations in the theater. I didn't know how my boyfriend didn't dump me. Oh man. Yeah. Adam said Band-Aids is all drugs do. I mean, when it comes to I don't even want to say recreational. I'll say recreational and self-medication side. Absolutely. I do think there are certain drugs, depending on how we define that are I don't know if cure is the right word, but treatment, certainly. Yeah. So what they put in the weed butter to make it butter, then they distill out all the butter. That's what I eat. And I'll just take like a little drop, maybe 200 milligrams max, and I'm out. Not waking up till 2 p.m. the next day. So read the can. Just like you got to read the prompts, guys. You gotta read the can.
Back later, and all of a sudden, all their relation problems are fixed, and they're like, "Oh yeah," and they just got it on. And then
how's that a bad thing? How's that a bad thing, Jazz?
It becomes a bad thing when it becomes a bad thing when kids get a hold of it and they figure out we like fucking and going to raves too.
Why? It's much easier for kids to get. How is it easier for kids to get Coke or alcohol? Actually, no, Coke is a bad example. But like, let's say before weed was legal, like the way it is, at least in New Jersey and like Colorado, California, places like that. It is way before that. It was way easier to get weed in high school than it was to get alcohol. Like, okay, it wasn't hard, but there was way more steps that you had to go through. And I think that's why marijuana started becoming the gateway drug, because alcohol is just not considered in the same the same category. So it started kicking in when my dude was driving us on the side of a mountain in Colorado. Oh, the worst part is that would have been amazing. That would have been amazing. He said I never did drugs before that. I drank the whole thing at once. Well, Jesus fucking Christ. Pro tip: if you're gonna do drugs, start slow, see how you feel, and then do more. Thought the 1 can serving was for a mild high. Yikes. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
When kids get a hold of it and they figure out we like fucking and going to raves too.
Oh my God.
But even that's a pivot. He was asking what's wrong with the relationship being fixed. And then he said, well, the kids. Well, that's a different thing.
Get a hold of it and they figure out we like fucking and going to raves too.
Oh my God, the kids.
And then they start flooding their brains and dying.
Yeah, and what happens when a kid drinks alcohol? Same thing. What happens when a kid smokes cigarettes? Same thing.
Yeah. So we make it illegal to drink before a certain age.
Yeah. That's part of regulating it.
Right. I'm okay with regulation. Again, see, I told you, here comes the regulation. We're both going to argue for regulation.
So you're okay so long as we have regulations to legalize all drugs then?
Yes, but I would say things should be illegal and you regulate the legal uses. You don't make it legal and then regulate what makes it illegal. That's backwards.
I don't think it works like this. But hey, there might be, certain things like with the, what is that, North Sentinel Island, where they haven't built up the immunities to certain things. Maybe if you're from California, then juice that's made in California and weed that's grown in California just works better.
If I say, for example, like I release a product and I say only people like, let's say, over the age of 80 are allowed to use this product, that's regulation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be
regulation. Yes. So you'd be okay with legalizing all drugs, but then having regulations.
No, I'd make them illegal and then have regulations.
How do you regulate something?
There's certain things you're not going to.
That's not how that works. I think. Well, I don't think they're saying anything different. They're saying there's laws against it, but there's carve-outs. Whether you're saying it's illegal, but there's regulations, or it is legal, but there's regulations, you're saying the same thing. You can only do it under certain regulated circumstances. I don't think there's a difference there.
Have any regulations for, or for example, carfentanil. It's for elephants. It's fentanyl for elephants. It's 100 times stronger than fentanyl. A microscopic amount can kill somebody.
And why do dealers prefer
we
that?
would keep that totally illegal for human use.
Yeah. Why do dealers prefer a more potent product?
Huh?
In an illicit market, why do dealers prefer a more potent product?
Because customers prefer a more potent product.
No, the reason why the dealers specifically go for the high potency is because it's easier to travel with.
Yeah, well, that's one reason.
Oh my God, the difference. Holy shit. The difference between coming home from picking up a 1/4 pound of weed and having to drive home versus the difference of having an 8-ball tucked under your sack. Even though you get in way more trouble for the coke, ain't nobody can find that shit. Ain't nobody can smell that shit. You just drive good and you're good. Drive well. Superman does good. You do well.
For the high potencies because it's easier to travel with.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that's necessarily the only reason, but he's not wrong.
Well, that's
the less it takes for you to get high, the more I can transport.
Right.
And hide, et cetera, et cetera. So if it's regulated and you're giving the customer all these like a wide range of options of what they want, you can have fentanyl that's like 0.01%.
No, but it's driven.
Well, this is what somebody earlier was saying, that some of these drugs are so heavily regulated they can't even study it. And ketamine is great for depression. I don't remember what else, but a bunch of different things, PTSD. And we just didn't know it because nobody was allowed to publish findings. Like they knew, but they just weren't able to publish findings.
Of what they want. You can have fentanyl that's like 0.01%.
No, but it's driven. It's also driven by customer demand. So opiates, there's no tolerance peak. Your tolerance will keep going up and up and up and up. So eventually, an opiate addict isn't getting high off heroin anymore. So then he goes to fentanyl. Then he's not getting high off fentanyl anymore. Yeah, so he'll go to ISO, and then he'll go to carfentanil. And a junkie who uses $100 a day could do that. But anybody else that comes in contact with it dies. Police, like. And
the same thing for example, like obese people who keep eating themselves into early graves. We had this whole trend, the fat is fabulous or whatever.
The fat acceptance. Let me say, K is definitely my favorite drug. Let's do a little story time. It's a quick one. So many of you know that when I was in my junior year of college, I went to Rider University. I'll go quick because I think most of you have heard most of this. But I went to Rider University, private university, small campus. And a few years before I went there was some bullshit with the football team and the frats, and so they really cracked down on partying and drinking. So what the frats did would they would just get a big ass house off campus, and it would unofficially be the house for their frat. So junior year is coming around, and me and two of my friends are like, yo, let's get the fuck out of this. Let's get off campus. Let's get a house. Let's, all the stuff. And so we, we're looking around at 3-bedroom, whatever. It just so happened that the two of them were in the frat, and they were like, yo, there's 3 rooms opening up in this frat house. And, since it's unofficial, you don't have to be in the frat to live there. It's just a house. I'm like, all right, that sounds like fun. I ended up in the master bedroom of the frat house, and I don't know how that happened, but I have my ways. But anyway, it was a frat house, so there's always just random people there doing drugs, drinking, smoking. It was a frat house in fucking 2010. That's exactly what you would expect it to be. So one morning, we wake up. We had a party last night, but I wasn't really involved in it. But I'm waking up, and it's still I think it was like 9 or 10 a.m. So it's still in that area where if you're doing uppers, you're it's not weird that you're still going. So my bedroom was here. Then there was a hallway with a bedroom going this way, and then the stairs to go down to go downstairs. So I'm coming out of my room to take Morty outside, and I pass by the bedroom, and my roommate's not there, but 2 of his friends are at the desk, doing lines. And I didn't have anything to do that day. And they're like, yo, you want a line? I'm like, yeah, fuck it. Why not? I'm not going to sit around to blow all day, but I'll fucking take a line. Why not? Help me wake up, whatever. So they give me this fucking rail. I'm like, all right, let's fucking go. And I realized at the time that it looked a little different, but it didn't register. And so I rip it and I was like, that was not Coke, was it? And they're like, no, that was K. I was like, I've never done that before. What are we doing? And it was not a fun experience. I mean, it was cool, I guess. If I had done it knowingly, if I had been in the mental state to do it, then I may have enjoyed it. But the only thing I really remember, we were playing some Deadmau5, and we had these giant speakers, and we were in the living room now, and so let's say I'm on the couch over here, right, and I'm just fucking in a K-hole, just gone, face down on this couch. Then, of course, little old me, any fucking drug you put into my system is gonna come right back out. I cannot do coke, I cannot do any uppers without throwing up every single time, but is what it is. So then I feel that's coming. So now I've got to get from the couch to the other side of the room where there's a garbage can. And I don't know if this was in my mind or what, but I felt like I couldn't walk. And so I had to like Spider-Man my way. So I'm like, and I grabbed onto the couch. I'm like, and then I grabbed onto a chair. I grabbed, and we had like it was, again, a frat house party. So we had like a dumpster, not like a dumpster, but like a big ass, outdoor garbage can. And so I just grabbed that. And I try to puke into it, and as I go, then it slips over, and now I'm mid puke, like falling onto the floor. That was my ketamine experience. So yeah, me too. Jesus.
Eating themselves into early graves. We had this whole trend, what was it, fat is fabulous or whatever, fat is beautiful trend. And it's literally people who are eating themselves into a grave. So we're going to ban food, we're going to ban carbs.
Yeah, you could just keep doing whataboutisms and say, how come we don't ban this?
Not a whataboutism. A whataboutism will be like, okay, let's not talk about drugs. Let's talk about this instead. It's not a whataboutism because he's using that in relation to the principle of why you think drugs should be illegal.
Ban food, we're going to ban carbs.
Yeah, you could just keep doing whataboutisms and say, how come we don't ban this?
I'm trying to apply your logic. I'm trying to apply your logic to a relevant situation where your logic fails.
I'm telling you, it's logical to restrict and ban some things that are harmful and other things that have other uses that aren't harmful but could be used for harmful things, not ban those things. That's logical.
No.
Is it though? I know it makes sense to you, but is it? I said mainly more potency means small amounts get through and they will still be able to sell and get people addicted, and they can cut the product to seem like the same amount. Yeah. So after I lived in that, there you go. After I lived in that house, I moved to a different spot where I had two roommates. Both of them were, one was a senior who was in the frat, and one was an alum who was in the frat. So I still was, in that world. And the guy who was the senior was selling blow. So we would come home, and we had this circular kitchen table. And I remember the table was about that big, and then the pile of blow was about that big. And he just moved it over and then dumped another thing of powder on the table, almost as big. It was baby laxative. Just mix it all up. And then at the time we were using the capsules. You go to the vitamin shop and get the giant capsules, and you just fill that. About 0.2 fits in a thing, and there's your dub. Easy to conceal and to move around.
Because again, sugar, the benefit of sugar or caffeine or nicotine or these are all drugs, DS. You don't associate them with, you don't like them. It's debatable.
That's it. You don't associate them because you don't like them. I don't like this thing, therefore it should be illegal. That is the only argument that has been put forth. Morgoth said the points Notre Dame keeps making go over Billy Joe Bob's head. Oh my goodness. What do you bring to the table? Right? God damn.
Drugs, DS. You don't associate them with, you don't like them. It's debatable. Caffeine is a drug. Is caffeine a drug?
Caffeine's a drug.
Yes, so sugar is a drug.
I've always been too scared to fly with anything. I'm too scared to fly with anything.
Nicotine is a drug.
Sure.
Alcohol is a drug. Yes.
Sure. Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, I said I was going to slow this down once they're after the thing.
And society has all these legalized, and these are all harmful, but we're still able to continue as a society.
I would regulate sugar. I would have sugar be legal, but regulate it. Like maybe you can only regulate how much goes into our food because there's too much that goes into the food. And
Get in line, comrade! You've got your ration for today! Like, that's straight up communism, is it not? The government decides how much of this thing you can have because it might be dangerous?
What?
I was going to ask if he's an American, but I mean, I like... Is it just me? Is this that bad of an argument, or is it going over my head?
America has an obesity problem. So we regulate how much sugar we...
He said we.
There's too much that goes into the food, and America has an obesity problem. So we regulate how much sugar we put into
and
food
like I
that
said,
people buy.
Like we could pull up the
And sugar's
drug deaths,
legal.
Like drug deaths are like less than 1% of the population,
Again,
whereas like the obesity problem is 75%.
Again, you can keep
Overweight,
naming
obese.
all these different things.
These harmful things that you would say we need to ban, given your logic.
No, I wouldn't. My logic is not that we should ban everything harmful.
Okay, then what is it? Because that's all you've presented. That's all you've presented.
That's not what I argued.
Yes, you were.
No, I
drugs are
said-
so dangerous they need to be banned.
I said some things could be banned, some things could be decriminalized, and some things could be legal. And
Okay, so what is the standard that you are using to make that distinction?
all would be regulated. So we could leave sugar could be legal, and we could regulate it.
Yeah. So like how we
That's an insane statement. We need to regulate sugar. We need to regulate sugar. If you buy more than one, what do they sell by the pound, right? You get 1 pound per year. If you run out, well, it's just salt for you. Or you could work it off in the gulags.
So we could leave sugar could be legal, and we could regulate it.
Yeah.
That's
So like
insane.
how are you regulating an illegal market? Like how would you regulate the black market? Black market, the whole point of the black market is it's unregulated. Nobody knows what's going on.
Well, when it's illegal, you regulate.
Guys, we're coming up on the 2-hour mark shortly, and we are not doing well on that goal. Remember, it's only $15 in total. Every donation, no matter the amount, counts. 15 donations in total, or a 50. Let's get Morty some treats. And of course, guys, I am so puny. Remember, every $2 is a push-up. I need help. I need your help. Please, please.
The black market by policing black market activity. So it's easier to police drug dealers and drugs when they're illegal. When they're legal, you can't police it anymore. And if you think that legalizing something is going to get rid of the black market, you should look at the CHU organization in Maine and Oklahoma.
Okay. Technically, yes, we regulate sugar in the sense that you can't just put whatever and sell it as sugar, but that's clearly not what he means. That's clearly not what he means. Like we said, regulating sugar is the logical conclusion of their position. People will say this and claim they are right-wing. Yep. Manito? I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Morga said, not communism, more like totalitarianism, but splitting hairs. I mean, it says, Jesus is my savior, Trump is my president in his background, so I would assume that he is a Republican voter.
Going to get rid of the black market, you should look at the CHU organization in Maine and Oklahoma. How ever since weed's been legalized, they're making the cartridges that get sold in the pot shops, and one day they're going to poison all of America. That's a conspiracy theory. I don't know that, but they
no, those are the Chinese ones that use vitamin E because they are on the black market.
But they are
so
taking
like
over.
I said, in terms of
They're taking over Oklahoma. Crime rates, murder rates have skyrocketed because Chinese gangsters.
Okay, fair. I'm not saying that is completely unregulated. Do you think that this is what he's talking about, or do you think that he's talking about since sugar is harmful to you, then the government is going to tell you can only get so much? That is what he said. So yeah, maybe a definition here of what do you mean by regulation would have been helpful, but we didn't get that, so we can only assume. And since they're not talking about the amounts in something, they're talking about whether or not you can get something and how you get that thing. Maybe you disagree, but I'm going to assume that he means the government tells you how much sugar you can buy as an individual. That's what I think he means by regulation, and that's why it's ridiculous. We said pulling products for sugar content is some commie bullshit. I mean, yeah, there you go. Even same shit. Again, So I'll admit that because I think people have too much sugar, then I'm not going to fight the hardest against pulling a product for its sugar content. But I'm admitting that's my bias. That's my opinion. I just don't personally care about that. But principally, yeah, we shouldn't be doing that. Barry said, I have a different outlook on things. I think it's so inhuman. We treat our pets better in a time of sickness, unless you're Hassan, of course. I believe in Dr. Kevorkian. It's like, why can't we make our own decisions? Well, you head up to Canada and get yourself a maid. No, but I think I agree with you. I think there should not be such a strong legal apparatus around self-deletion. That should be a cultural thing. It should be so outside of the realm of ideas that you would have as to how you solve your problems. Not, it's illegal, so you've got to. I don't want people ending themselves, but again, if they want to, legally, what right do we have? The USSR, they had bread lines. In the US, they will have sugar lines. If J.S. Urban gets his way, sugar lines. Not the kind of lines we were talking about earlier. Deathpilot said there's too much drugs. I said as I snarfed 6-inch lines from their email. Always. People said there's too many fatties. They need to stop eating processed foods, sugary drinks, and maybe fast more. Go up on water and fat shame. I only want the best for them. Right, but you don't want to make the government make them do those things, right? That's what, unless I'm mistaken, that's what it sounds like J.S. Urban is saying, that he wants to have the government force people to eat what the government determines is healthy. Now, I don't know if you guys remember, but about 5 or so years ago, there was a thing that the government was saying that everybody should ingest because it was healthy. And they weren't so on point about that. Shout out to my purebloods. Again, I will say, if you are a pureblood, you stood up to the greatest propaganda campaign of our lifetimes. Well done. In Canada, they refuse you healthcare and then offer you death when you're in pain. You can't make this shit up. Agreed. But I think there needs to be, like, I don't think it's a matter of just like, yeah, you can do it. I think there should be some type of process. I have no idea what that process would be. But I think that is not unreasonable. I don't like how MAID does it, specifically because of the fact that they have the universal health care where you got to wait forever. But I think it can be done. We got Section 230 Pure Blood. Shout out to you and everybody else who is a pure blood. Hey, shout out to Barry with the $2. Thank you, Howard. Thank you. So very, very much, of course, a treat for Morty. Guys, that's 1/5 of the way there. That is 3 out of 15 and $17 out of 50. Let's get Morty his treats. Thank you, Barry, so very, very much.
Murder rates have skyrocketed because Chinese gangsters are growing all the pot.
Yeah, so when you have a regulated market, you know exactly what you're getting. The street dealer who just wants to increase his sales, he might sprinkle some fentanyl on some herb or some weed just so he can increase his sales. Whereas if you have a regulated market and they try to do that shit, they lose their business.
Okay,
They're staking the game.
The pot market is regulated and legalization has driven up potency. There's no...
I would just now figure out what the name is.
Such thing as regs anymore. I don't see any regs.
What's the regulations?
No, regs, like regs, mids, and dro. When I was a kid, we had something called regs. It was this weed that was like the corner of a brick and it had 28 seeds in a, it was garbage weed.
Oh, you mean Reggie? What did he say? I remember he was saying this earlier.
Oh, when I was a kid, we had something called regs. It was this...
Regs. Did you call it Regs or did you call it Reggie? Or like definitely after Pineapple Express, we just called it the Snickle Fritz, but Reggie.
Weed that was like the corner of a brick and it had 28 seeds in a, it was garbage weed, shit weed. They don't have that anymore because
this happened to me one time. Oh my God. Not exactly, but somebody spilled water over the whole thing. That is how we learned you don't dump out the whole bag. You take a little bit, and I'm OCD as shit when it comes to, I need fine. I don't want any rocks in my fucking face. I want powder. So what I would do is I would have two, I would keep a bag. So I'd have a bag, and then I'd buy the bag, right? Then I dump out a little bit, chop that up, and then put that into the new bag. Then dump out a little bit more from the new bag, chop that up, so that I would have just a bag. Everything's already chopped up, ready to go. Whether taking key bumps or you just want to pour some out, then you're good to go. But you never put it all out on the table. Oh man, I can't. It pains me. It pains me. All right, I'm back in here.
It was garbage weed, shit weed. They don't have that anymore because legalization drives up potency because customers demand the most potent product.
No.
The competition in the market drives up potency, drives up the customer base.
Okay, why don't we see the same thing for alcohol?
Why don't we see the same thing from alcohol? Yeah, let me say it didn't increase because of Big Bud. Weed got potent 20 fucking years ago. You can buy shitty weed anywhere. And oh man, do I not miss those stems and seeds. I've got some Durban right now. The buds are like that big, and the stem, like the stem is just like that, and then the rest of it is all, I don't even know, like physically, how does it stay together? The stem doesn't even go all the way through. Usually, you have the stem, you have a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there, whatever, and you peel it off. But this thing, you just take off the stem at the bottom, and the whole thing is a giant nug. It's fucking beautiful. It's fucking beautiful.
Okay, why don't we see the same thing for alcohol?
Because they regulate a potency of the alcohol, but I would argue.
Oh, so we could regulate the potency of the drug.
You're gonna regulate the potency of well, then why haven't they done that with pot?
They do. Any dispensary you go to, if it happens to be still illegal in your state, if you go to a dispensary, there is a little sticker on it that will tell you the potency, the percentage, the terpenes, all that stuff. That is regulated.
They've done it with alcohol. In Germany, you're not allowed to brew a beer unless it reaches a certain percentage.
Yeah. Okay. So you'd rather have
put these regulations on.
That's another good point from Section 230. So this presumption is wrong by default. It meant plenty of people who didn't want more potent. So we can't claim it as a monolith. Yeah, my neighbor who I always forget if you've seen her, but the lady who gave me the cupcakes the last time we were in the after party. She's like a second mother, and she likes to drink a little bit more, but every once in a while she likes to take a little edible, and she'll ask me for something. And like I said, I get the super potent thing. So what I did when she asked me is I just took some Gatorade and I squirted it in the Gatorade, and I just gave her like maybe 35, 50 milligrams in like one of those, like kid-sized Gatorade bottles. And so, like it was only like that big. I'm like, okay, so drink like a quarter of it, wait until it hits you, or an hour. If you want more after an hour, go for it. But like take stock. And that's how whenever anything is new, I want to make sure I know exactly how much does what. So the first time, anytime I'm doing a drug, I want to do the smallest amount that is going to affect me so that I can get an idea of, okay, this is 1 unit. So whether I need 5 milligrams or I need a whole joint or whatever it is that we're talking about, I know that this is 1 unit and I want 3 units worth or whatever. That's always how I think. But, to Section 2's point, like, yeah, I'm a fucking degenerate that wants to be fucking slumped. But, yeah, a lot of people buy the CBD only. I mean, I don't use it during the day unless I have absolutely nothing to do, which is happening less and less and less often. But yeah, getting arrested for weed ruins your life way more than smoking weed. True that. True that. Barry said I got arrested for weed back in the day, and they charged me $1,000 for 1 seed. Oh, yep. Is it? It's illegal there now? Now it's okay. So it's still. Do they decriminalize it in Illinois? Is that what it is? Yeah. Again, shout out to. I don't want to name any names and put people's business out there, but we have somebody in the community whose father's locked up for 60 years for a small personal amount of their drug. It's insane. It's insane. All right, I'm back in.
Percentage.
Yeah. Okay. So you'd rather have
put these regulations on.
If you want the cleanest, most healthy product, do you go to the local farmer's market or the local garden? Do you grow it yourself, or do you want the government to make it for you? What kind of dyes are they putting in the alcohol? What kind of they're loading it with sugar.
Depending on what I wanted. If I wanted like food that like I'm making sure there's no additional.
You expect the FDA to make the healthiest product for you?
I can grow it myself, but if I want like standardized testing, where it's like, for example, like the reason why raw milk is because it can go off, it can go sour or whatever. So they get the word. They do something to it to basically prevent that, and that's like the main pasteurize it, exactly. So it's like in terms of like that aspect, the reason why they pasteurize it is for longer shelf life, etc., etc. You know what I mean? So in terms of like the dynamic here that's at play with regulation, you can make sure that a product like the guidelines of the product is enforced. Whereas if it's black market, you don't know what's being done.
Facts. He hates sugar, man. But yeah, Barry's saying it's sad how they treat them like murderers, wasting our tax dollars. It's crazy, and I mean, treating them worse. You can, I mean, depending on, unless it's, first degree murder, you could do 5, 7, 10 years on a murder. Especially if you can get that shit down to, manslaughter or something. Like, I'm not saying it's an easy time, but 60 years for personal use. That's not the America I want to live in. And JS wants it more strict.
The guidance of the product is enforced. Whereas if it's black market, you don't know what's being done.
Okay. So black market, you could get dirty dope.
Yeah. So, sorry, Morgoth. Morgoth's Hammer said, so does not realize that if you give the government total control over our lives, eventually people like Joe Biden will wield that power. The vax is a great example.
Bingo.
Oh, sorry. I meant to hit the
Bingo.
Exactly. Well said. Thank you so very, very much. You have a good one. You said white guys that go to prison get swastika tattoos just to stay alive. But this is the rehabilitation. You just need to be stricter, says JS. Section 230 said raw milk is actually just as safe as pasteurized, if not more so. The government doesn't want citizens capable of providing for themselves. Private farming means they can't charge taxes. Yeah, there's definitely, I forget who it was. I don't remember, but somebody was talking, there was like a trend of people, trying out raw milk. And it can, the pasteurization process kills all the bacteria, but all the natural minerals and whatever, I don't know the exact thing, but all the good stuff in the milk is also killed. So, unit. Just like home farm eggs are actually less likely to have salmonella. Yep. I mean, we got that part in, so you never know.
Okay. So black market, you could get dirty dope. Government gives you clean dope.
Yep.
Okay. So what about the logistics? How are we going to set this up?
I mean, how we already have
injection sites and clean drug shoot up centers. How does that work out in America?
Well, again, like I said, in terms of my aspect, the way I see it is the same.
I say yes. I think it was Waco who brought up Portugal before. The reason that has been quote unquote working. I mean, again, there's still addiction. There's still people doing drugs. You're not going to get rid of that. But the reason that has improved the value of that society is because, again, people typically don't want to be addicts. They just become isolated, and it becomes a way of life. It becomes comfort, and with the one track mind, you get stuck in a cycle. Now that's nobody else's fault than the person who's doing the drugs, but that doesn't mean that they're not struggling. So if we want to help them, if we want society to be better with less drug addicts, then treatment has to be a part of it. What that treatment is, I don't know, because people like you are sitting here saying, no, drug bad. You, on the one hand, want to say, we can't do this because it would be so terrible. But also, you're supposed to already have the answers of how this plays out. Like, I don't know yet. We have to. Why does this do it? Maybe I should finally take the plastic off of this. I'll do it after. Whatever. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Well, I think he was. We'll go then. What food doesn't have something bad in it nowadays? Every time you turn around, there's something else on the news. Hot dogs, eggs, so on and so on. Everything, something will cause cancer. Yep. You have to shop beyond the grid and have some sort of dollar income, or they will make your life a living hell. You'll own nothing and be happy.
That workout in America.
So again, like I said, in terms of my aspect, the way I see it is the same way that you have a gun license or whatever. You put forward whatever drugs that you want to take, or take whatever reasons, all that kind of shit. Even have like testing in terms of like, okay, what substance are you not allowed to take if you're on this drug, etc. Start to prove information and all this kind of stuff, right? And once you have that license, if you go out on the street and start getting drunk and disorderly, or just like intoxicated and like antisocial behavior, that's already laws that we already have in place.
Mm-hmm.
So all you have to do is by extension is just say we're taking away your card for a month or 2 months because you went too ham.
Okay, these crimes are going to increase when you legalize it. You're talking about crimes of consumption. Crimes of consumption are going to increase when you legalize it, which spreads our police force thinner.
Yep.
Now they have to focus on all these, because as much as you say we're going to take your card away, an addict is still going to do that. And I know there's going to be a lot of people who can responsibly use and stuff, but there's going to be a carve out of the population that when you do this, you're going to open a floodgate where these addicts are going to use, and they're going to do crazy shit. Now our police force has to focus on that. When it's illegal, you focus on the black market. You can that's why the untouchables came around during Prohibition. We had a focused police force that just went after bootleggers.
You know, like the DEA.
So it's easier for our cops to focus on the big guys who in the black market than it is on all the little guys when you legalize it. And you just let them run around shitting in the streets like we saw in Oregon.
Yeah.
No, but then you have to actually enforce the cultural laws. It's not the problem with people doing drugs and shitting on the streets. Isn't that they're doing drugs? It's that they're shitting in the streets. That's the problem. Would you care if every drug addict did it only in their home and didn't bother you? Of course not.
You have standardized regulations.
Standardized regulations. How are you
guys? That is the 2-hour mark, guys. If you would like to keep the party raging, you know how to do it.
going to standardize, drugs?
Yeah, because
certain drugs affect
a dealer doesn't care. Well, if he's in one neighborhood, because he can just say, fuck, I'm just going to go down to a different neighborhood, I'm just going to move, whatever. If someone owns a business, they're putting forward capital. They do not want to lose that fucking capital. They don't want to lose their business. When they have tight regulations around it, you bet your bottom dollar they're going to make sure that they're sticking to the guidelines.
Okay, but they're not worried about all the business around.
Okay, but means, that's a really good point.
Sticking to the guidelines.
Okay, but they're not worried about all the business around them when all the drug users hang out outside their business. All the people on the streets are hanging out outside their business.
That's called loitering.
Yeah, now we got to arrest all these loiters. And we saw what happened with Oregon. Yeah. When you legalize drugs, police become lighter on crime.
What? Again,
no, it just becomes not a crime. I think what he's trying to say, essentially, was when you legalize a thing, more people do the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I was pointing out, JS, like with this whole kind of thing of play, you're pointing to other things. It's like, oh, what happens if they start being violent? It's like we already have laws in place. If someone is violent, we lock them up.
Exactly.
Yeah, what?
So we just need to enforce the laws that we already have. We don't need to enforce the drug, having the drug, possessing the drug, ingesting the drug. Those things don't need to be directly legally addressed, because what the cause of it, or what you think it will cause, is already illegal. We already have legal recourse for doing the things that you don't want people to do, other than the drugs themselves.
Why do we make that illegal anyway? With your logic, they were taking their freedom away to hurt other people.
Because when you're talking about taking a drug, fundamentally the act of taking a drug, the harm principle,
it harms other people.
Yeah, so like in terms of the harm principle that you're trying to put forward, how does it harm other people?
It harms.
Right. Yeah. So since we know they don't just shit in their house, it's a social issue that falls into the purview of governance, and it's the shitting in the street that should be addressed. Not you did a drug, so we're gonna lock you up so that you don't shit in the street. That's some precog shit. That's some precog shit. I know you did drugs, so you might do something bad, so we're gonna lock you up.
Oh hell no.
Nah. We said, do you think instead of criminalization that forced medical intervention in cases of extreme addiction might be an option? Like someone who's mentally ill and can't care for themselves. Yeah. But again, like this would fall under what is already a 5150. Or maybe it wouldn't, but it should. If that's not the case, where you could 5150 someone because they are not able to understand the gravity of an addiction. That's one thing. And then I think there's even different levels of, let's do a side quest. Let's do side quest real quick. Can mere drug abuse reach the threshold for someone being involuntarily what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, we'll just say locked up in a psych facility. Let's see, but before we get to that, let's shout out our boy Barry, Macaque Insider. My favorite thing to do. Where's my applause? There we go with the $2. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we need to start handing out buttercream. Ooh, ooh. You don't want to be that part of that penal verse? Nah, not over here. Over here, we are all friends. We are all good. We get heated, but we love each other, and that is the only reason we care so much. Glad to have you, Barry. Very, very, very much appreciated, guys. That's 4 out of 15 and almost 20 out of 50. Let's make me do those push-ups. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so I said, can mere drug abuse reach the threshold for someone being involuntarily locked up in a psych facility? Yes, in some cases. Drug abuse alone can lead to involuntary psychiatric commitment. That's the word I was looking for. But only if it meets certain legal and medical criteria. It's not the drug use itself that triggers the commitment, but the behavioral or mental health consequences that result from it. So a person can be involuntarily committed if they are deemed a danger to themselves or others, or unable to care for themselves due to mental illness or substance-induced condition. So that would be like substance-induced psychosis. If heavy drug use causes psychosis, paranoia, extreme aggression, or self-deletion behavior, doctors can legally hold the person for a psychiatric evaluation, OD, or risk of self-neglect. Someone's use is so severe that they can't maintain basic safety, i.e. not eating, wandering and entrapping, overdosing repeatedly. That can also qualify. Initial holds are usually 1 to 3 days. For short term, longer would require a court order. In short, drug abuse itself isn't enough, but if it causes someone to act in ways that clearly endanger themselves or others, it can cross the threshold for involuntary hospitalization. Interesting. Yeah, I think that is so. Already we have that's the point here. We already have these things in place. So why do we need to make the drug? Why can't we legalize the drugs and just enforce these other things? Now, there's an answer to that as to why it's not that simple. But that is the issue that we should be discussing. Thank you again, Barry. Adam said, so if people not on drugs and are not shitting in the streets, how do we stop people from shitting in the streets? The same way we do it for everybody else. You shit in the street, it doesn't matter. Drugs, no drugs, atheist, conservative, liberal, Christian. If you shit in the streets, I was trying to come up with something rhymes, but it didn't work. You get locked up. I don't know. So, yeah, right. We love the jokes. Deathboat said lithium injections into test rabbits cause them to go limp. We're barely beyond lobotomies. You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. And yet another reason not to put the government in charge of what we ingest. I mean, you know. So the issue, I kind of just don't trust the government to make those decisions. But given the system that exists, it's a better option than criminalization. Should I mean do it at a local level? Yeah, and that's what I mean. Where it's like we need to build it from the ground up, because the issues that exist with the drug addicts in Philadelphia are going to be different, similar but different than the addicts in Portland. And if it's a more community-based thing, which again we've lost the idea of community in general, because people are moving away from religion and aren't coming back. So maybe we need to instill the idea that that community is a good thing outside of religion, so that we can get back to a place where we don't have this. But actually, we can open up hostels like here. I know we don't have any hostels. That would relieve plenty of them getting off the streets. Is that a clear answer? So you're saying I don't think we have any hostels? You mean just like a place for them to go and hang out? The problem with that is nobody is going to want to do that, because if there's no reason for someone to go there and treat it well, then it's just a drug den. What? So we're talking about what will require more policing. I'm talking about people shitting in the streets, or people going through a process of rehabilitation from the ground up. Which one are you asking about? Death Poet said prolonged drug abuse causes organic brain damage, which is irreversible. Yep. There you go. There you go. Locally.
The harm principle.
It harms other people.
Yeah, so like in terms of the harm principle, you're trying
either or. You said yes. So so we'll go for both. So I think if I'll assume that you're not talking about the shitting on the streets. So I think if we have these, if we have a structure where people have, oh, you are talking about shitting in the streets. Well, no, because then I mean, more policing than is done only because they don't enforce the laws. We don't need any extra laws to enforce not shitting on the streets. We need more policing because people are not enforcing the laws that we have. So yes, but like that's the case for a lot of laws that are on the books that are not being enforced. It requires more policing because they're not doing the policing. Policing in the streets is cheaper than housing and feeding millions of non-violent people.
Bingo.
Well said. Even if they're shitting in the street.
like the harm principle.
It harms other people.
Yeah, so like in terms of the harm principle that you're trying to put forward, how does it harm other people?
It harms. I explained it to you in my opening. It harms everybody around them. It harms the community. It harms society.
You're just making the claim, because there's plenty of responsible drug users that. Yeah, there's plenty of responsible drug users that don't do that.
Yeah, and I said, and there's a population that do.
And then, so some people in this group make things bad. Yeah. Like many other groups. Do we make every group where some people in that group cause harm illegal? What is your standard?
A big chunk of them are going to do it. Also, you don't know.
And there's a huge population that are obese.
You don't know how
sugary foods.
You don't know how each drug is going to affect each individual. How are you going to regulate that?
There is that guy who's running for mayor in New York. That he was one of these what you call it, like Hell's Angels style neighborhood cleanup. What's his name? Siwa, something like that. I hadn't heard about him until the other day when they did the debate, and I don't understand. We've got Cuomo, we've got Mamdani, and we've got this guy who literally walked the streets and kept things in line. It was literally like that. What was his name? Let's look him up. New York Mayor Siwar, is that it? All right, let's just see what we got here. What do we got here?
Well, the three New York City mayoral candidates took the stage to debate one last time.
It comes ahead of early voting this weekend and Election Day in under 2 weeks. Let's get right to Good Day's Briella Tomasetti. She joins us in studio with more on the candidates' final message to voters last night. Briella, good morning.
Good morning to Shani and Dan. They were all certainly very engaged, possibly even shook off some nerves, but there were some similarities between last night's debate and the first one, including coverage of topics like crime, immigration, affordability, policing. President Trump was in the mix, and also education, but the mayoral hopefuls, they came ready to fight. Andrew Cuomo, who is trailing in the polls, appeared to have landed more blows.
Let's go here.
8.5 million lives. You don't know how to run a government. You don't know how to handle an emergency. And you've literally never proposed a bill on anything that you're not talking about in your campaign.
Oh, you mean like the bill to kill all the grandmas that you proposed?
Cuomo was looking for a game-changing moment to help convince voters that Mamdani is the wrong choice. Mamdani, for the most part, tried to lock in his lead and play it safe, but the two tore into each other all night regarding their backgrounds and policy ideas. At times, Sliwa found himself having to interrupt the two other candidates just to get a word in.
Excuse me, Mr. Cuomo, it's my turn, all right? It's like two kids in a schoolyard.
The Guardian Angels founder attacked Mamdani and Cuomo over their support of criminal justice.
Let's find, I want highlights of that. Sliwa. Let's see what that goes. We got it.
Mr. Mamdani, this is a centerpiece of your campaign. Can you explain how you will make buses free? You have 30 seconds to answer.
Absolutely. We will make buses free by replacing the revenue that the MTA currently gets from buses.
Zoran, boy, your fantasies are never going to come about in terms of funding everything you want that's going to be free. It's a fantasy. Let's deal with the reality.
The Assemblyman's whole plan is based on a myth. He's going to raise taxes. Albany's going to raise taxes statewide on corporations, but the money's only going to go to New York City. That could never happen. It's not just that the governor wouldn't support it. It's impossible.
Joining us now live on set is the Republican candidate for New York City Mayor, Curtis Sliwa. Curtis, thanks for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure.
James wanted to do the whole show with you.
Ideally.
Sorry, we couldn't do an hour.
Well, you may be our only hope to save this city. It seems to me, it's pretty clear from the polls that either you or Andrew Cuomo needs to drop out to allow the possibility of defeating Mamdani and all of his crazy ideas.
Well, why not Andrew Cuomo? He lost the debate last night. I won. That was the clear consensus.
Okay, Cuomo says that you recently sent him a letter. He said he didn't open it. Were you saying drop out, Andrew?
No. What I did was I visited his huge establishment where he lives, apologized to the voices of the seniors. These are the 15,000 elderly who died because of his executive order.
Okay.
And I was outside. And remember, this is when Elise Stefanik and Mike Lawler had written the letter to RFK Jr. and to Dr. Oz and said, did he or did he not follow the CDC guidelines? Because he's perjured himself. He's under investigation.
His COVID record is appalling. So many abuses. But he said he didn't open the letter. It's with his doorman, apparently. But have you considered calling him and saying, get out?
No, I said it publicly last night after the debate. He was within earshot. He really failed in his responsibility to change up. Remember, this is the same debate that he lost in the Democratic primary twice. So he promised he would be a renewed, reinvigorated Andrew Cuomo. It's the same old Andrew Cuomo. He's not going to win. And
I mean, you get the point. That between the three of them, like, how is this even a question? I would love. Let's one more thing. I just want to see if we can get something from. What is this? Just want to be something. Come on. Okay, what do we got? This is 10 years ago.
In the history of our country, and indeed in the history of the world, there have been countless incidents in which people frustrated at the inability of the law to protect them from crime and violence took matters into their own hands. In early ways each day, fast, inexpensive, reliable transportation to and from jobs and errands. But when the sun goes down and the rush of the day is over, it becomes a different world. With an average of only one cop for about every 2,000 paying passengers, the transit police are hard-pressed to do the job. At one point, they were trying to cope with more than 200 serious crimes, felonies, each week. The situation outraged 23-year-old Curtis Sliwa, the night manager at a McDonald's restaurant, and he hit upon the idea of citizen patrols to look for and interrupt subway crimes. Soon, the red beret and T-shirt uniform of the Magnificent 13 started becoming familiar to riders as 3 4-man teams took to the trains each night. The original 13 became 80.
We are going to do what we can in a nonviolent way without having any weapons available to us whatsoever to curb this violent crime that is on a continuous rampage throughout the system.
And yet violence does attend some of your patrols. I mean, you get into scrapes, no question about it.
Definitely. But remember, you're not dealing with a logical mind out there. You're dealing with an individual who's very basic, who only knows two things, rip off or be ripped off.
Most of the members of the...
I mean, god damn. Let's watch a little bit more, but really quick, shout out to Arrow again with the $2. Thank you, thank you, thank you so very, very much, guys. That's 1/3 of the goal. 1/3 of the goal. Let's keep it going. Thank you, thank you, thank you so very, very much. I just want to watch a little bit more of this, and then we'll get back to the debate.
The Magnificent 13 are 18 and 19 years old. Some have jobs, and some, like Dominic Macchia, are students. People recognize you on trains now?
A lot of people. Even like I seen old ladies, old people, they came and sit next to us and they start talking to us. They say, oh, I'm glad you're doing this. Can I have an address or a telephone number that I can call to back you up? Telling people that you're doing good work.
When they do join, do they understand the danger, the possibility that there could be personal danger for them involved?
Quite so. Remember, these are street people. They are from the streets of New York City. Some are from middle-class areas. Some are from very low, impoverished areas. Yet, street logic tells you, to go and try to deal with people that carry guns and knives without you yourself having a weapon is insanity. So, it might work with me going out to a farm area and getting farm people to come and patrol the subway system. But to deal with city kids and city people, in order to do that, you cannot fool them because they know what the score is.
Lito, I'm Roger. Oh, yeah. Arnold.
I'll put this in the chat if you guys want to see it on your own time. But that, I mean, it's Andrew Cuomo and a literal socialist. And they're like, yeah, let's do that. What? No, thank you. I do love me some Ryan Long, but I do not tune into the podcast. Yeah, right. With Sela around it is. All right, diving back in. Thank you again, Arrow, for keeping the party raging.
How each drug is going to affect each individual. How are we going to regulate that?
You have testing, like, for example, like in terms of the medical industry, it's like they will go out of their way. If they think something is the medical industry, if they think that something is profitable, this is why the whole trans thing has been pushed so strong, because the medical industry knows that we can get these people on the line. Like, do this whole, like,
this is healthy. You need to take this. You should take this much of this. Sound familiar?
And all this kind of shit. Feed them hormones, and then when they're ripe enough age, we can convince them to go undergo this surgery and castrate themselves or mutilate themselves, and they're paying us thousands of dollars to do it.
I'm going to come back to that point, but I'm glad you brought up the trans thing. So, Lupron for children for puberty blocking. Would you legalize that?
No.
Why not?
Because the purpose.
Wait, you wouldn't legalize it?
So you stand.
Well, actually, no. If someone wanted to be legal, but I wouldn't have that as an actual effective treatment, which is what they're currently doing.
So what it's not intended for, you wouldn't let them use it for what it's not intended for.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Same way, like I wouldn't let someone, like, just because they have the knife, let them go around like fucking stabbing people in the street.
Was the intention of fentanyl, MDMA, was the intention of it what it was designed for and supposed to be used for people to get high?
But yeah.
No.
So people don't take drugs to get high.
Fentanyl is a powerful opiate that stops you from feeling things and helps you to anesthesia.
Pain, which is getting you high.
I don't understand this line of questioning. What are you trying to get at?
So every pharmaceutical drug, Xanax, is made to get people high.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the most abused drugs of our generation.
So, for example, with the example of bleach again, I wouldn't ban the bleach itself, but I would step in to prevent someone from drinking bleach.
Rohypnol.
The act is different to the substance.
Rohypnol was not designed to be a date rape drug. But
isn't that Taryak's point?
Designed for it.
I don't even know what Rohypnol was designed for.
I think it's a sedative. Like, it's just a regular
I'm sure. It was probably.
So then how do you know it was
thing? Basically, I don't know. Look it up. But regardless, it wasn't used. It wasn't designed to be a date rape drug. The forget me drug.
So it was designed to.
Shout out to anybody who watches Arrested Development. Forget Me Now.
Benzodiazepine. It's for anxiety. It's like Xanax.
Yeah.
But stronger.
Yeah. So it's used to.
Nope. Xanax is a type. Xanax is clonazepam, which is a form of a benzodiazepine. Just like clorazepam, which is Klonopin. Those are both different types of benzodiazepines. If you're gonna have this type of attitude, know what the fuck you're talking about, bro.
And it's for anxiety. It's like Xanax,
Yeah.
but stronger.
Yeah. So it's used.
It's like Xanax, but stronger. That's like saying, Blue Dream. It's like weed, but stronger.
It's used to treat severe insomnia and assist with anesthesia.
Yeah.
So again, like it gets you high. That's the intent.
To put somebody asleep so you can do surgery to them is not to put somebody asleep so that you can grape them.
So again, now we have to define what is being high. What do you consider being high?
You're getting them high, yes. But again, that's not the intent. Like that's a different act.
I would have used the word intoxication. You're getting somebody intoxicated. That is the intent.
That's grape, JS. You can't just say it's like, oh, because this fella took drugs and then grape someone, we're just going to put all responsibility onto the drug.
Right, exactly. God damn it, you're right. I was that close. If you're going to be confident about it, you got me. You got me. He's still wrong, though. All right? Benzodiazepines being stronger than Xanax is still a stupid sentence. But alprazolam versus clorazepam. You are right. You are right. Wrong again. Which is wrong a lot tonight. Let me say, this guy doesn't realize that drugs don't have specific purposes. They just do things, and then they test them against different uses. Each drug, has hundreds of variations that they also tested. Bingo. We all know the story of Viagra. Put a 1 in the chat if you do not know what the original intent of Viagra was.
That makes no sense.
Say that last part. I pulled my.
So you're saying you're bringing up grape, and just because someone takes drugs and then grapes someone doesn't mean that we say, oh well, like it's all the substance fault. No, that's the individual.
That's what people use that drug for. They don't even use it. They don't even use it for anesthesia anymore.
So by this logic, then if we had an epidemic of people taking hammers and putting into other people's heads, then we would ban hammers. Maybe you need the ban hammer. What kind of argument is this? Again, it's just, I don't like it. And then from there, trying to figure out a reason why. Shout out to AGK. Welcome to the party. Very good to see you. You're Ayush, right? I remember the color, but they changed all the names. So I'm flailing. I'm flailing. Welcome. Either way, very good to see you. I said, hello, fellow American. You should vote me. I leave power good. Thank you. If you vote me, I'm hot. Taxes, they'll be lower. Son, the Democratic vote is right. What is happening? What has happened? Arjun. All right. See, how the fuck am I supposed to remember? You both have the A names. You both have the same ones. Shout out to Arjun. Welcome. Everybody tag YouTube on X and ask them why the fuck did they do this? I learned all of your names, and then they changed it. Because America's the best. We don't want it to be exactly like the UK.
Use that drug for. They don't even use it. They don't even use it for anesthesia anymore.
And some people use fire to burn things down. That doesn't mean that like that's the actual use or to say the use. The reason why you have fire is to keep yourself warm.
But rohypnol is illegal. Because there's no use for it anymore. They don't use it to anesthesia for anesthesia.
Anesthetize.
Right. So
yeah. I mean, not really, but they just use different drugs.
Yes. And
so what is the purpose for legalizing rohypnol?
The same way I can like buy sugar from a store and like go into a diabetic thing and start putting sugar in their coffee.
We don't use it in any medicine.
Notice how he doesn't address that because now that is a poison. If you know somebody's diabetic and you put sugar in their shit, not in their shit, but in their food, that's now a poison. So again, we have to define what is a poison, what is a drug, what is harm, what all these things are just floating around. And I don't like to get bogged down in semantics. I think it is, for the most part, it is usually an aside when someone wants to dig really big, really deep down into semantics. It's because I don't want to actually address the arguments. I'm just going to pretend that I have no idea what you're talking about. It's like that one dude who came up here and I was talking about left wing and versus right wing or liberal versus conservative or something like that. He was like, well, I don't know what those words mean. I was like, okay, fine. I'll give you a lexical definition just for the purposes of this conversation. This was when Biden was still in the race. I was like, if you are willing to vote for Biden, we're calling you a liberal. If you are willing to vote for Trump, then you are a conservative. Maybe that is not a perfect thing. There's going to be some overlap, but for the purposes of this conversation, that is all we need to know. Couldn't get past it. Couldn't get past it because he has nothing to fucking say. To the point where, it got heated and he rage quit. And I felt bad about myself. I was like, oh, man, I didn't want to do that. Like, I didn't want to be an asshole. Like, I wanted to have a good conversation. But then we watched it back and I was like, hold the fuck up. I wasn't being a dick. He was being obtuse as fuck. It's difficult it's a difficult thing to know in the moment. But it was clear as day looking back.
Putting sugar in their coffee.
We don't use it in any medical means anymore. So what is the purpose of legalizing Rohypnol? Why would we need to do that? Why would we need to write policy and legislation around Rohypnol legalization?
That's the wrong question. The question is, why should we ban it in the first place? And maybe you have an answer for that, but why should we ban it in the first place?
People want to buy it. They want to take it at a party. They want to get high with it. Why should we do that?
Because it's still used.
It's still used for what? For what's it used for?
Yeah, like just because someone gets a hammer or a knife and stabs someone, that doesn't mean that the actual.
There you go.
I've already addressed
because what you're trying to attribute is you're trying to bring in other laws that are illegal.
Multiple uses for a hammer, multiple uses for a knife, not multiple uses for Rohypnol. Why should we legalize?
It's multiple. There's multiple uses. It can be used as a to treat insomnia and as an anesthetic. So that is a use outside the grape that you're trying to bring into this.
This is the
you're bringing in a different crime.
There you go. I forgot to ask.
Regulate. Yeah, just regulate it.
I forgot to ask this question. Viagra is used for lung deficiency in children and cardiac conditions in adults. Bingo. That is why Viagra was originally created. I think it's sildenafil, if I'm not mistaken. And they just found in their studies, hey, all these dudes with heart issues are fully torqued whenever they take this drug. And now, that's what it's for. Who the fuck do I think I am? Apparently somebody a lot smarter than he thinks he is. Well, is there anyone who doesn't think that Always Sunny is hilarious? I legitimately think is broken or something. There have been a few conservatives that shit on it, and I immediately question what kind of humor they have. Really? I mean, I've heard people, say like, oh, that's not really my thing or whatever. But that's interesting that there's a conservative tilt that you've seen. I've seen, conservative tilt with people not liking Gen V and the boys. Because they go equally as hard on both sides politically, and conservatives are generally just too sensitive. Like, because of the fact that the wokeness was there and was like only going after conservatives, then it made it to anything negative said about anything conservative. Oh, they're woke. Like, no. You just got used to being the only target. You're still a target. You're just not the only one. Equal rights, equal less.
You're bringing in a different crime.
You just say regulate it.
Yeah.
Just regulate it. We don't use Rohypnol anymore in medical.
If I was suffering from insomnia, why shouldn't I be able to go to the chemist and just say, give me some Rohypnol?
What's the straw man? He's saying that the poisoning using using a roofie to grape somebody is wrong, but there's not anything inherently wrong with the Rohypnol. I think this is a bad example because when you are asking what is the other use, I don't really know what you would use it for. What's the actual straw man?
If I was suffering from insomnia, why shouldn't I be able to go to the chemist and just say, give me some Rohypnol? Whatever the standard dose is to treat insomnia.
Because the common use for it nowadays is as a party drug and a date rape drug.
What are you basing that off, JS?
Oh my God.
See, now you're getting into being obtuse. Come on, brother. Taryak, we know what roofies are for.
Dude.
Or what people use.
We're going to play. What do I need to bring up stats for you?
No, you're saying this is the only use for this is to do date rape, right?
When have you? What? Have
No,
you
no, no.
heard?
One sec. You're saying.
Okay. So now he's asking, okay, well, what was the original intent? Why does this exist? If the only reason that it exists is for that, then it wouldn't exist. So why does it exist in the first place?
One sec. You're saying the only use for this is for date rape, right? But I've literally listed off that it was originally designed to treat insomnia and as an anesthetic.
I said a party.
You're just saying just because some people use it for this, that means they're all grapists and we need to like make drugs legal because of grape.
Yeah,
that's
like
basically what
Xanax.
you're saying.
If there's a pharmaceutical reason for Xanax, you don't need to just go and buy Xanax.
Painkiller.
You get a prescription. You get the
anti-anxiety med, not a painkiller. But I mean, depending on what we're talking
card, like you were talking about. So the drug would be illegal for people who don't have the card, and then we would regulate.
But it would be legal. It would be legal. You just have to make sure you get your medical card.
No, that's not. Medical weed is not legalized weed. Weed is still illegal, but there's medical uses for it, so you get a medical card.
One sec. Can someone who has a prescription for medical
weed is still federally illegal? Weed was never legalized in Netherlands.
Can someone who has
never
like
legalized weed.
a prescription? Can someone who has a prescription for medical weed buy regular weed?
Someone has a. What's the same? It's the same weed at the shop. They go to the smoke shop.
Exactly. It's the same weed, yes. So what you're trying to make a distinction without a distinction.
Right, but
distinction without a difference. So I am going to put up a poll, guys. This is going to be a more regular thing. But tonight I kind of just want to try it out, but we'll so we'll see. But I'm gonna put up a poll saying I would prefer I keep watching this, or the thing I was talking about before, where I'm going to go, I'll still have a stream here. It's going to be a new stream, but it'll be right in the chat, so you can just click the thing. It'll go to a new stream where I'm still here, and I might end up on a panel, but the thing where, I'll mute myself on the panel, I'll be able to talk to you guys here, and then I go back to the panel, that kind of stuff. Which would you prefer? So that's what I mean by panel hopping. Since you guys have been donating, we can stay here if you like. Keep watching this, or we've got both the Unreasonable Man, aka Grid One Motorsports, as well as Verbal Kombat. We can see what is good. All right, that is what it means. Let me know. Play.
Exactly. It's the same weed, JS. So what you're trying to make a distinction without a distinction.
Right, but weed is still like here in Utah, we have medical weed. You can get a medical card. Weed is still illegal. You have a medical card so that you can go get it.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying that we should do.
And, so you basically agree with my solution. You just say that I consider that illegal.
No, I say it should be illegal, and we have certain times where we regulate the legal use of it. You're saying it should be legal. And
that's what legal means, dude. Legal, because again, even the prompt itself says drugs should be legalized and regulated. So nobody is arguing. Nobody's arguing for unfettered free use of drugs. That's not what this debate is. If you are saying that it should be in a state of you can't use it, but there are regulations where you can use it, that is the for position. Growth hormone. It's GHB. You right. Speaking of drugs, I tried BCP 175 today for the first time, and that shit made me feel like I was on Adderall without the high. Wow, yeah, damn, especially because especially because I can't do caffeine anymore. BCP 175. What do we got here? Proceed. Nope. All right, fuck you. My friend told me he tried BCP. What is it? 175. And he's talking about some type of medicine. Can you tell me what this is and how it works in just a couple paragraphs? Because we're going to get a whole fucking thing from that. Interesting. Oh, man. Now we got a GHK. What in the fuck is this shit? Peptide supplements. All right. Liberty said he wanted unregulated at the governmental, the federal, well, at the government level or the federal level. The neutron. Yeah, I never knew. I never fucking understood what those were. Sounds like you're 157. Okay, so that makes more sense. Here's a quick summary of what it was. Synthetic peptide derived from protein found in stomach juice. It's not approved by the FDA. For any medical use, but it's technically an experimental compound. How it's claimed to work. Promotes tissue healing, reduces inflammation, enhances blood vessel growth, and protects against certain types of tissue injury. Mechanistically, it appears to interact with the nitric oxide system and modulate various growth factor and healing pathways. What we do and don't know. We have a fairly robust animal model showing it can accelerate healing. Very little high-quality data exists in humans. I'll try that shit. If your friend says, trying BCP-157, they likely use an experimental peptide that is not medically approved and whose benefits and risks in humans are not well established. It may show promise in animals for healing or regenerative uses, but using it comes with uncertainty and potential safety and regulation concerns. Well, there you go. That's such a bad sign. I mean, I know it's all the lights and everything, but whenever I have to read, my eyes just tear. Like, anyway, I would try it. Perky. What kind of perky we talking about? I have modafinil somewhere. Yeah, I'm not really fully like, I don't really understand what when they say nootropics, what that is supposed to mean. Guys, the poll is at 50-50. I will make a choice if you guys do not.
Times where we regulate the legal use of it. You're saying it should be legal and we regulate the legal use of it. That doesn't even make sense. Why do we need extra regulations?
What does illegal mean?
Illegal means
we're finally getting into definitions.
You're not allowed to possess, distribute, manufacture it, or ingest it.
Yeah, so basically you're saying something, because this is the definition, something that is forbidden by law or a set of official rules, making it unlawful, illicit, and prohibited. You're saying that you want it to be illegal, but then you want to make laws for it.
No, I want it to be illegal, and then make it's prohibited. So even under alcohol prohibition, there were certain times when you were allowed to have alcohol. So there's certain
kind of possess it.
So what you're saying is that you want it to be regulated. So he keeps trying to say, no, it should be illegal and regulated. Versus it should be legal but regulated. I don't really think there's a difference in what you're saying there. You can't use it unless you have express permission. That's what regulate in this context. That's what we mean.
Kind of distribute it. Then like, what are you talking about here, James?
During Prohibition, it was illegal. Alcohol was illegal, right? It was prohibited. But if all the alcohol you had before Prohibition, you were allowed to keep. If you were an alcoholic, you could go to the doctor and they would give you alcohol.
Yes.
That's regulation.
So what we're talking about is like regulation in terms of like regulating the sales.
Guys, if you don't make a choice, I will make one.
Yes, which means you're allowed to sell it, but it's under certain conditions.
Yeah, so you want the government to regulate the sales of destructive substances that cause harm to individuals and all the people around them and their society. That cost taxpayers money.
Fire is destructive, correct?
Makes it more difficult on the police.
But fire is dangerous, correct?
Oh my God! It's kidding. You're gonna keep going to ban fire.
Yeah.
No, we're not gonna ban fire.
Why not, JS? Why should we not ban fire?
Because there's a lot of purposes for fire, and that would be nearly impossible. How are you gonna ban fire?
The same thing with drugs. There's a lot of purposes of drugs, and it'd be nearly impossible, as we've seen with the war on drugs.
You were talking
debate over.
You were talking the other night about the CIA and how the government used LSD to do MK Ultra.
Yep.
Yeah, so the government shouldn't do that, and we certainly shouldn't let the government be the only one to tell us what we can and can't ingest and how much. That is an argument in Taryak's favor. So guys, I'm going to give you another 90 seconds to hit the poll, or I'm going to make a decision.
Up to mind control people. You know, MK Ultra was like a test plan. They moved on to Project Monarch, I think it's called the Monarch Mind Control Program, and then subliminal messaging. So now they've optimized that. They figured out how to do all that stuff without having you be in a college and sit in front of a screen with your eyes open and dolphins on the screen, right? They figured out how to do that. But what are they missing? What's the one piece they're missing? They're missing the psychedelics. So what do? They say psychedelics like mushrooms and dissociatives like ketamine can treat your depression. And now you have people pushing to legalize mushrooms and ketamine. Now it's still illegal, but we regulate that you can use it for your depression. But people are going to push for it to be legalized like you're doing right now. This is a
So
they're saying the same.
The key thing that you missed out on the Yahtzee experimentation and what was continued by the CIA is they use those drugs unconsensually. Do you understand what I'm saying here? That like the people were unwitting recipients. They did not want this. And again,
non-consensual, but yes.
When we tie this back to, this is the equivalent of someone putting something in your drink to poison you. That act itself has nothing got to do with drugs.
Right. And if you wanted to affect the whole population on a larger scale, but you couldn't unconsensually put psychedelics
60 seconds on the poll
into their food or into their drinks, how would you do that? You would legalize it, then you would market it, then you would advertise it the same way that they market and advertise cigarettes and alcohol. You see pot billboards in California now. As soon as you legalize it,
again,
you're driving profit, you're driving the customer base up, you're advertising, you're marketing said thing.
That's how businesses work.
So instead of unconsensually giving you psychedelics to control your mind and make you dumbed down and demoralized and placated.
Death Poet, thank you so very, very much for hanging out. Before you go, tell me, if you don't mind, which did you pick on the poll? Because if you're leaving and it goes in the other direction, then I'm just going to choose. Thank you so very, very much for stopping by. Let me say, new drugs are automatically illegal if they share similar structures and properties with illegal drugs. Yep. If you have something that's chemically like brand new, then it depending on how it works, it might be in like a gray area until it gets a stamp of approval or others. Then all right, guys, if anybody wants to stay, then HR Death Poet's leaving, and she voted for staying. So let's hit it.
Giving you psychedelics to control your mind and make you dumbed down and demoralized and placated. They just get you to do it yourself.
We are almost at 3 hours as well, guys. So, I mean...
They say, we're going to legalize it. We're going to make billboards for it. We're going to sell it at the corner store.
Yes. A fatal flaw with this conspiracy theory is if they can get you to do it yourself, that means that they can get you to do anything, which means you're already fucked.
Yeah, they can get you to do anything a lot easier when you're on drugs.
Okay, if they already have the mind in the perfect place where they can get you to do whatever they want, then they already have controlled your mind. So congratulations, you've just proven yourself wrong because there was no drugs used beforehand, and now they're convincing you to use drugs.
No, I don't.
Comfortable slavery.
See how fucked up the...
I don't want to hand that power over to them.
What do you mean hand that power over to them?
I don't want to let the government legalize things that they're going to use against the people.
They've already controlled your mind to the point where they're forcing you, apparently forcing you to take drugs.
They haven't controlled my mind yet because I'm not arguing
because
for
like
drug
the main flaw here is that like these.
That's what you think.
Drugs will change your. Or
they got your mind. They've turned you to a cog in the wheel.
Yeah. So you're saying that these drugs change the mind. And we need to get them to use it.
Whoa! Projection. You're asking the government to be the arbiter, not only of morality, but what we can ingest. And he's the one that's brainwashed.
A cog in the wheel.
Yeah. So you're saying that these drugs change the minds and we need to get them to use the drugs by changing their minds. It literally makes no sense, JS. Because if I can get you to use the drugs, then I already control your mind.
Wait, what?
That you're saying that these drugs control people's minds, correct? And
they use the drugs.
They use the drugs to control the mind. But you're saying that they've already developed a system where they can get you to control you to use these drugs. What is the point of the drugs?
They can encourage you. They can nudge you.
What is the point? One sec. What is the point on like of the drugs then? If I already have a system in place that I can get you to do whatever I want. Like,
you don't need a shout out to Guam Tech. Wait, the $2. Oh wait, let's go full screen for that. That just took some more. Gonna be up all night. Let's fucking go. Womtech, which did you vote? To stay or to go to the panel?
If I already control your mind, why do I need drugs to control your mind when I can already control your mind?
they can't force you. They can't unconsensually force you to use the drugs. So what they do
They don't need to.
is they do things like legalizing it and advertising it to encourage you and to nudge you and to popularize
Right
it in
over his
society.
head.
So
not even addressing what he said. He's saying, Taryak is saying, if they can get you to already do the thing that they want you to do, then they don't need to use drugs. And he's talking about something else.
advertising it to encourage you and to nudge you and to popularize it in society. So there's not a the political perception of like crack and meth and heroin. If we legalized it, everybody wouldn't want to do it all of a sudden.
The fuck agree. So you said you don't need the stamp of approval or disapproval. It's already illegal automatically. Yeah, if it shares the structure. I was saying if it doesn't share the structure, then again, I don't know exactly what it is, but I mean maybe it is, but well, let's take a Google. When you know what? Nope. Fuck you, Google. We're going back to DBT. When a new drug is created, what is the default legal status in the U.S.? Oh, there we go. I don't even do drugs anymore. We got one. The way it's set up, only multi-billion-dollar drug companies can do the drug research, and it kills innovation. IP laws and the war on drugs is killing way more people than it's saving. Facts. So going back, when a new drug is created, what is the default legal status? When a new drug is created in the U.S., its default legal status is unapproved and illegal to market, sell, or distribute for human use until it has gone through FDA approval. There you go. By default, every new chemical compound or biologic that's intended to treat, prevent, or diagnose disease is considered a, quote, new drug under the FDA Cosmetic Act, and it means it cannot be legally sold. So there ain't no gray area. It's illegal until deemed otherwise, as Liberty has said. All right. Let's keep raging on. I mean, I kind of feel like we've hit the wall here, but you know, if somebody wants to super chat and move on to the next stream, we can do that as well.
Meth and heroin. If we legalized it, everybody wouldn't want to do it all of a sudden.
I would.
But over time,
the only reason that I haven't been like, let me just, once in a while do this, is because it's illegal.
Once you legalize it and you start advertising it and marketing it, slowly people will start to use it more and more.
Were people still using alcohol?
Right, but again, that is not inherently a bad thing. You have to prove that doing the drugs itself is inherently a bad thing. If you're saying people take more drugs and then they do these things, well, then we just address the bad things that they are doing. And the drug itself does not need to be illegal.
And they probably did.
Yeah, but it went down. Yeah, but it went down a lot. Use went down a lot.
Like this, but again, Jess, we're on this conspiracy theory where it's like they're able to control your mind with these drugs. So they're basically controlling your mind anyway to get you to use these drugs. Then they control your mind. It makes no sense, Jess.
All right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna let the timer on the goal run out, and since GuamTech just donated, we'll give them another 10 minutes, and then I am gonna be panel hopping. And so, like I said, you can stay right here. As soon as the stream ends, the link to it'll automatically start. So if you just stay there, we'll be here. I'll be right here. We can find some stuff, hang out for an hour or two or whatever, and then that's it.
It makes sense. I don't know. You're trying to,
because the key thing that you missed with me doing that thing, and like I said, it was a bit of a bait that I brought that up, but it's this whole aspect of like they were unconsensually given the drugs, and then in those closed, controlled environments, like interrogation, for example, that's how they're able to enforce.
Yeah, he did. That went right over his head. And that was what are these whataboutisms?
Behavior they want.
Okay, and so if you want to do that on a large scale,
and giving consumer choice is not the same thing as kidnapping someone, forcing psychedelics into them, and then altering the behavior.
If you want to do that on a large scale, how would you do it? You would legalize. The psychedelics and market them.
Yeah, the only way
get the people to voluntarily do it.
Yeah, the only way that you'd be able to do that, like even if you did prohibit it, right? Let's say like with the LSD, so you could still do. You just put it into the water supply. Same thing that's doing with atrazine. So this whole thing of like we need to protect ourselves from the government.
Who's wearing a conspiracy
like,
hat now?
No, what I'm saying is it makes far more sense.
I think he's engaging in your conspiratorial idea.
In terms of like what I was saying rather than what you're saying, because you're saying is they want you to take the mind control stuff, so they're going to control your mind to get you to take the mind control stuff. It literally makes no sense. What's the point of doing that in the first place if you already have a system in place that control their minds? And if anything, psychedelics break your mind. So they put in the system that to enforce
in a good way
the behavior and to control the minds of the populace, and then they're going to give you or force a substance on you that's going to break your mind and
well, not if they force it.
Break that control.
They don't force it on you. They coerce you. They incentivize you doing it. They encourage it. They nudge you towards it, and they can't do that.
No, I mean, like you are hitting on the point that JS was saying, that if it's not illegal, then it doesn't have that cool factor, and we can see that there's a lot of like Gen Z who just doesn't care to try cannabis because it is legal. There is that aspect, but there's still a much higher level of usage overall. The idea, yeah, that does affect it, but overall, it's a non-factor. Quamtech said, I suppose I'm lucky. My brown mouse was slightly allergic to opiates. I have an addictive personality, so I can easily see myself getting hooked. Runs in the family, unfortunately. Yeah. My dad's dad was a huge alcoholic. And, my parents don't really drink that much. But when I do what I do, and that's why my parents aren't super happy. Slight aside, this is why you need to keep your notifications of the Discord on, because last night at 4:41 p.m. I'm sitting here watching The Martian, right? And I'm like, Is that Quamtech? Tell me I don't look like Quamtech. Tell me that's not Quamtech. Tell me that's not Quamtech. Y'all seen it. Quamtech is in The Martian. Downloads make me throw up, and my parents were addicts. Gotta wonder if it's psychosomatic. There's so many different factors. This is why I barely drink. If I have one, I have to get smashed. Luckily, it only takes me 3 beers or so. Right? That is why this exists, friends. That is why this exists. Because if I didn't have that, I would just get shit-faced and not be able to do my real job. All right, so that's the end of the goal. We're going to run until the 3-hour mark, and then you stay right there. We're going to go get into some trouble.
They encourage it. They nudge you towards it, and they can't do that. They can't do that if the drug is illegal.
No,
if LSD is illegal, the government can't encourage you to do LSD.
The Satan figure or the evil villain figure you want to portray is that the government want to be able to control your behavior, correct? And what you're saying is that in this system where the government wants you to take these drugs so they can control your behavior, you're saying that they're already controlling your behavior and forcing down those lines of taking these quote mind drugs. When you actually look at these psychedelics,
they're getting more and more control. I don't want the government.
It gives you.
So as we're winding down and talking about the same shit going in circles, we have I don't remember the exact wording of the first poll, but the same kind of thing. The should illegal drugs be legalized and regulated? Let's see if there's a difference.
It gives you ego death, which means it actually breaks the control. Whatever if you state your mind is before, it's going to be different afterwards. So why would they give you something that would break that control?
I'm talking about dumbing down, demoralizing, and making people more complacent and more likely to just go along with the plan and be mindless zombies. I'm not talking the government's control, the government's power, their authority is law and order. It's enforcing laws and keeping and protecting people and property. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep. So the government can do that by enforcing things like keeping drugs illegal, certain drugs illegal. You keep bringing up prohibition.
Why would these nefarious governments ban them in the first place?
Why would the nefarious governments ban drugs?
Yes. If these are great mind control tools, why have they not been using this for the past however many decades?
So we brought up cocaine and marijuana. Cocaine was made illegal in 1919.
Damn, still after all of this at 50-50, should drugs be legalized and regulated?
It was in Coca-Cola, right? Mm-hmm. They made it illegal because they found out it was addictive and harmful.
Oh, okay. So the government back then were like the benevolent, nice, friendly. We're just looking out for the consumer. But the government now is the nefarious one that just wants to control your behavior. Which one is it, JS?
Totally.
Yeah, I think the government back then wasn't as corrupt as it is now.
Okay.
You mean the government that was drugging people wasn't as corrupt as it is now? Okay.
And one sec. What year were was MK Ultra and Bluebird? 60s and 70s. 60s and 70s, JS. Yes. So
Okay.
you're telling me the same government that like sanctioned all these like where they were literally giving psychoactives to people who weren't consenting, not even knowing that they were being
50 years later,
being experimented
after,
on. Yes, you're saying that the government. You're saying, JS. You're saying the government back then was the benevolent. They just want to look out for the consumer. But I'm showing you the Secret Service was literally didn't give a fuck about consent, was drugging people and doing experimentations on them. Now I'm giving you the modern day one. Why the fuck haven't they legalized it since then? And you're basically sitting there saying, well, no, the government was benevolent back then, but clearly it wasn't.
Isn't this that Swedish House Mafia song? We could be heroes. No,
it wasn't totally benevolent, but it was less. It was less a mess than it is now. After World War II, after McCarthyism, there were commies coming into America, and they took examples from Mustache Man.
All right, I'm done with this. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start the new stream with this playing. We're gonna pause it right here. So when you, I don't know if you have to click a link or if it just starts. We're gonna play. It's gonna completely start right from here while I find some stuff and whatever. So for this stream, we did not hit the goal, but a big shout out to Arrow and TV. Barry coming in hot as a newbie. Very, very much appreciated. And Arrow again. And of course, our boy Guam. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out. Remember, the party is not over. The party is not over. Don't move. Don't actually. Can I start this? Let's see if I can start this without and be live on two things at the same time. Let's try that. Let's see. Panel hop in. It may not let me go live immediately, but let's see. This got me. Oh, they added. Okay. So we're here. We'll share that. Can we go live? All right. So I will see you in the other stream immediately. Peace.